Chapter 833. If it were other martial artists, they would definitely not be able to do this. After all, a person's energy was limited. It was impossible to learn so much. Moreover, there were conflicts between martial artists. But Lin Xian could. He possessed the great dragon sword soul and could use it as a foundation to simulate and evolve other martial arts. To him, this was not a difficult task. Apart from these two martial arts, the blood sword inheritance broke through again and reached the third level. And after reaching the third level, apart from the power being much greater than before, he also obtained a martial art, blood shadow clone kill. Using blood chi to condense a blood clone and use it for a sneak attack in battle, it could be said to be incomparably strange. He silently cultivated and digested this new martial art, entering a cultivation state. Outside, everyone was shocked because they discovered that the blood palace did not show any signs of disappearing. Instead, it became even more resplendent and demonic, like a demon king's palace, shining with a scarlet light. They did not know that this was the reason why Lin Xian's blood sword inheritance broke through to the third level. What they knew was that Lin Xian was too arrogant, too egotistical. After killing so many people from the Golden Palace, he did not have the slightest intention of leaving. Perhaps other than him, no one dared to do so. Time slowly flowed. Suddenly the sky boiled again. The void trembled as if 10,000 beasts were galloping. This time the fluctuations were even more violent and intense than before. A huge spirit boat quickly traversed the void. Its speed was very fast and it instantly rushed in the direction of the blood palace. The spirit boat was golden all over as if it was made of gold. It emitted a dazzling light. On the body of the boat, there were two huge axes that crossed each other, forming a strange pattern. On the spirit boat there were many martial artists. All of them were surging with killing intent. It was frightening. Golden Palace. It's the Golden Palace's people from Giant Axe City. Below, when the crowd saw the huge golden spirit boat, they immediately exclaimed. It seemed that the Golden Palace was really angry. They actually sent a battle spirit boat. Indeed, the death of Huang Jinxing and the bald man had finally angered the Golden Palace. Hence, they sent a battle spirit boat and swore to capture the murderer. Countless people looked at the sky and swallowed their saliva. Their eyes were filled with horror. They knew that this time Lin Xian was truly finished. Hundreds of martial artists stood on the gold spirit ship. Among them, the person at the front was a burly man with bronze-colored skin. He was as mighty as a metal tower. On his back, he carried a huge golden battle axe, which was shining brightly. This burly man was the Vice City Lord of Great Axe City, Berserker. He was also the strongest leader on the spirit boat this time. This person's cultivation was at the peak of the second-level honorable realm, and he could easily kill an ordinary third-level honorable realm. Apart from the City Lord of Great Axe City, almost no one was his opponent. As for the powerful City Lord, it was said that he had already reached the third heavenly layer. However, it seemed that he did not come this time. Quang Zhan stood at the very front, looking at the blood-colored palace in the distance. His eyes, which were like bronze tombs, were filled with anger. As the Deputy City Lord of Great Axe City, he had never been as angry as he was today. His talented warriors and capable subordinates as well as a group of warriors had all been killed. This was a blatant provocation. No matter who it was, anyone who killed the people of Golden Palace and Great Axe City would have to pay the price in blood. Like a huge golden mountain, the gold spirit ship carried a huge wave of air and quickly arrived in front of the blood-colored palace. The person inside, "Come out and accept your death." A terrifying voice rang out, carrying with it a monstrous anger. It was as if the god of thunder was punishing them, and it resounded in all directions. However, the other party did not respond. No one walked out of the blood-colored palace, and it only quietly emitted a dazzling light. Not coming out? Quang Zhan was enraged. He sneered, "Don't think that you can escape from everything by hiding inside. I will make you come out on your knees obediently and willingly send yourself to death." Then he quickly ordered, "Prepare the gold shockwave and destroy the palace in front." Immediately the subordinates behind him moved quickly. The surrounding people held their breaths and watched in silence. Their eyes were filled with fear. In the sky above, the huge gold spirit ship suddenly emitted a strong spiritual energy fluctuation. A huge cannon quickly formed and aimed at the blood-colored palace in front of them. In the next moment, the port of the cannon shone brightly. It quickly absorbed the surrounding spiritual energy and condensed into a round ball of light with a diameter of dozens of feet. On the ball of light, golden light shone and pulsated continuously, emitting a powerful destructive force. This force was too powerful. Just a trace of it was enough to make everyone tremble. In the next moment, the huge golden ball of light surged and formed a golden shockwave that shot forward. Boom. The void was instantly shattered, and endless spiritual energy was sucked dry. The golden light was like a pillar of heaven, and it quickly blasted towards the blood-colored palace. In the next moment, an earth-shattering sound rang out. Heaven and earth trembled, and the terrifying energy exploded. The void fell into chaos. Strong winds blew, and the dazzling light covered the entire sky. At this moment, it was as if the sun had exploded. The blazing light flashed, and everyone could not open their eyes because of it. There were even screams because some warriors wanted to force themselves to look, but their eyes were pierced by the light. After a long time, the violent energy gradually disappeared. The dazzling light in the sky also dimmed and finally disappeared. Only then did everyone dare to open their eyes and look at the sky. Then they sucked in a breath of cold air. They realized that the blood-colored palace in the sky had been pierced, and a huge hole had appeared. The entire palace had been completely pierced, and it was almost split in half. Everyone was shocked and speechless for a long time. The golden light pillar was too terrifying. It had destroyed the blood-colored palace with just one blow. Before this, no one had been able to hurt the blood-colored palace at all. I wonder if Lin Xian is injured? Yeah, I haven't seen him until now. Could he have been killed? Countless people were puzzled and kept guessing. They did not know that Lin Xian was not injured, but was comprehending a new martial art, so he did not attack for a while. In the sky, on the huge golden spirit ship, the people of the Golden Palace looked at the destroyed blood-colored palace and sneered. Those who dared to offend the people of the Golden Palace would definitely be ruthlessly smashed into meat paste. However, the leading golden man, Berserk Warrior, frowned slightly. Because with his perception, he naturally knew that the other party's aura was still there. He snorted coldly and was about to give another order. This time he would definitely smash the other party into meat paste. However, at this moment, a huge shadow was cast in the sky. It was like a dark cloud that covered the surroundings. A terrifying and violent energy surged quickly, as if the Demon King had awakened, and it carried a cold and gloomy aura. Who dares to kill the disciples of the Yen family? Come out and die. Chapter 834. Hearing that, everyone was shocked and their eyelids twitched. The Yen family is here. This was definitely an earth-shattering event. Needless to say, the Yen family was here to kill Lin Xian. Two terrifying forces had arrived one after another. Even if Lin Xian had 3 heads and 6 arms, he would not be able to fight them. Lin Xian is dead this time. Chaos is coming. I wonder who will get the Lone Star Sword? Someone sighed. No one thought that Lin Xian would be able to leave alive because no one could escape unscathed under the attacks of the two forces. The huge black shadow was a demon general-ranked demonic beast. It was 100 feet long and looked ferocious. Countless figures stood on the back of the demon general, all of them looking down with cold expressions. However, before Lin Xian could say anything, the people on the golden boat were furious. Who is it? How dare you stop above us? Get lost. The voice was terrifying. It was like the roar of the thunder god. It tore the clouds apart and the terrifying sound wave attacked the huge flying demonic beast. Boom. The huge flying demonic beast flapped its wings and formed 2 terrifying tornadoes. They collided with the sound wave attack and created a shocking explosion. The void was destroyed and turbulence flowed everywhere, destroying everything. Everyone was shocked and gasped. They did not expect the people from the Golden Palace to attack. No wonder they were from the Golden Palace. They were too arrogant. They did not even put the Yen family in their eyes. They had no choice. The giant axe city was famous for being arrogant. Especially Crazy Warrior, he was unruly. How could he tolerate others stopping above him? They were already giving them face by not attacking immediately. Who dares to attack the Yen family? Aren't you afraid of being annihilated? A cold voice came from above. It was obvious that the people from the Yen family were furious. Yen family? Is that so? How dare you stop above the Golden Palace? I'll give you a chance. Get lost. Otherwise, don't blame us for killing you. Golden Palace. Hearing that, the martial artists from the Yen family fell silent. They did not expect the group of people to be the famous Golden Palace martial artists. However, so what if they were from the Golden Palace? The Yen family wasn't a coward. On the back of the demon general, the middle-aged man standing in front asked in a deep voice, "So it's fellow Taoist from the Golden Palace. Which city are you from?" Giant Axe City, Mad Warrior. An unruly voice sounded as if it was looking down on everyone. Berserker. Huge Axe has become the deputy city lord. The middle-aged man's pupils shrank. He had never thought that the great Axe city lord would come here in person. He knew how powerful the other party was, but as a member of the Yen family, he would not lose face for the family. Mad Battle City Lord, we're all here to capture the same person. Can be said that we share a common enemy. Why should we fight each other and harm our harmony? Hurt the harmony? Who do you think you are to talk to me like that? Berserker was very arrogant and did not put the middle-aged man in his eyes at all. Hearing this, the middle-aged man's face turned ugly. His eyes burned with anger, but he did not dare to attack. If he's not qualified, then what about me? An old voice sounded. Then a huge pressure gushed out and shrouded the area below. This pressure was so terrifying that it made everyone's heart tremble. Even the warriors of Huge Axe City on the Gold Spirit ship changed their faces. They all looked up at the sky as if they were facing a great enemy. Open for me. Berserker roared and waved his arm. A huge golden axe shadow appeared, as if it could split heaven and earth. Boom. A low sound rang out and a strong turbulence filled the entire space. The surrounding warriors were frightened and kept retreating. They could not withstand the impact of this power at all. In the next moment, the terrifying energy exploded, sending out a strong impact. Berserker took a step back and suddenly looked up, his eyes fixed on the sky. Although he did not use his full strength in that attack, the person who could make him retreat was definitely not an ordinary warrior. Above, an old man in a Taoist robe appeared on the back of the huge beast. Although his hair was white, his skin was as smooth as a baby's, giving people a very strange feeling. Greetings, Guardian Elder. Seeing this old man, the warriors of the Yen family all bowed respectfully. Guardian Elder. In the distance, everyone was shocked. They did not expect the Yen family to send a Guardian Elder. It seemed that this time they were determined to kill the other party. On the Gold Spirit ship, Berserker looked at the old figure and his pupils shrank. He felt an aura that was not inferior to his own from the other party. Haha, Berserker City Lord, why are you so angry? Our enemy is the murderer in the Scarlet Palace. Now even the murderer has not shown himself. If we fight first, won't we be a joke to others? I can catch the murderer, but your beast cannot stay on top of me. Berserker's voice was cold. Facing the Guardian Elder, he was still fearless. This is the negligence of the Yen family. Don't worry, we will leave now. The Guardian Elder smiled faintly. Then, with a wave of his sleeve, he flew to the other side with the huge beast. Even though the Yen clan had moved the beasts away, their words didn't sound friendly at all. The protector laughed again. Huge Axe City has been here for so long, but you have not caught the murderer. Why don't the Yen family do it? You are courting death. On the Gold Spirit ship, the warriors of Huge Axe City were furious. They looked forward with a ferocious expression. The group of people opposite them dared to say that they were useless. They could not tolerate it. Berserker's expression was also cold. There was a strange light in his bell-like eyes. Compared to those ordinary warriors, he was thinking more. It should be known that this time they were not just here to kill the murderer. Their real goal was to obtain the Lone Star Sword. Whoever could kill the murderer first would be able to obtain the Lone Star Sword and naturally have the advantage. This was something that no force wanted to let go of. Now, the Guardian Elder's words clearly indicated that the Yen family wanted to fight with Huge Axe City for the Lone Star Sword. Other things could be discussed, but this matter could not be compromised. There is no need for the Yen family to do it. Huge Axe City can easily take down a small thief. Berserker refused immediately. Then he said to the people behind him, "Prepare the spirit cannons and continue to attack." What are you talking about? That thief killed a genius of the Yen family. Of course the Yen family will do it. The Guardian Elder of the Yen family did not back down either. He waved his hand and quickly ordered the family disciples to prepare to attack. In the face of a half-Earth-rank treasure, no one could remain calm. Therefore the two major forces were ready to attack together. How arrogant, how overbearing. However, you seem to have forgotten to ask for my opinion. A faint voice sounded and spread clearly in all directions. Chapter 835. Humph. Quang Zhan and the Yen family Guardian Elder looked gloomy as they looked at the Crimson Palace in front of them. They realized that the voice had come from the Crimson Palace. Sure enough, in the next moment, a figure slowly walked out from the entrance of the Crimson Palace. Lin Xian, it's him. He's not dead. Everyone exclaimed in shock. They did not expect that their attack had not hurt Lin Xian at all. Moreover, what shocked them even more was that Lin Xian had taken the initiative to show himself in such a dangerous situation. What is he trying to do? Is he not afraid of death? No one knew. At this moment, everyone was looking at that young figure. Lin Xian stood at the entrance of the Crimson Palace and looked around. Then his face turned gloomy. He had been comprehending the newly acquired martial arts in the Crimson Palace, so he did not attack. However, that did not mean that he was not angry. The golden pillar of light from before had almost threatened his safety. Now the two forces were discussing who he should belong to as if he was a commodity. They did not take him seriously at all. It was as if he was a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. However, was Lin Xian really a lamb? The martial artists from the giant axe city and the Yin family laughed when they saw Lin Xian walk out. Boy, you know what's good for you? I'll give you a chance to surrender now. Perhaps I'll give you a quick death. The middle-aged man from the Yin family laughed coldly. On the other side, the martial artists from the giant axe city also shouted coldly, "Thief, how dare you kill someone from the Golden Palace? Come here and die." The two forces laughed and surrounded Lin Xian in the middle. What a nice way to put it. Revenge? Isn't that what you're here for? With that, Lin Xian held the Lone Star Sword in his hand. Lone Star Sword. Everyone's eyes lit up when they saw the sword in Lin Xian's hand. Greed filled their eyes. The eyes of Kuang Zhan and the guardian elder from the Yin family shone brightly. As long as they killed the thief in front of them, the Lone Star Sword would be theirs. Brat, you are quite self-aware. The Yin clan elder sneered, I'll give you a chance. Hand over the Lone Star Sword and I might let you live. You better hand the Lone Star Sword over to us. Otherwise, I'll let you experience what it means to wish you were dead. On the golden boat, Berserker also said coldly. You want the Lone Star Sword? It's simple, but there's one problem. There's only one Lone Star Sword. Who should I give it to? Lin Xian said indifferently as he fiddled with the sword in his hand. Don't try to sow discord between us. Elder Zhang sneered, Brother Mad Warrior, why don't the two of us work together and kill this little bastard first, then we can talk about the Lone Star Sword. Alright, that's exactly what I was thinking. Berserker took a step forward, his eyes cold as he stared at the figure in front of him. On the other side, the elder of the Yin family floated in the air like a ghost. His body was surrounded by a purple aura, which was very frightening. The crowd below exclaimed. No one would be able to block the attacks of two peak second-level honorable martial artists. Even an ordinary third-level honorable martial artist would be killed. The elder of the Yin family sneered, Brat, I gave you a chance but you didn't cherish it. How stupid. Why are you still talking to him? Just kill him. Berserker roared as well. He was like a giant, his steps causing the air to tremble. The two of them were too strong. Even Lin Xian's expression turned serious. If it was in the past, he wouldn't be able to defeat the two of them. However, not long ago his blood sword inheritance had broken through to the third level, and his strength had increased greatly. Moreover, he had also mastered a new martial art, the Blood Shadow Doppelganger attack. If he took them by surprise, he might be able to kill the two of them. With that thought, Lin Xian gripped the Lone Star Sword in his hand. This time he had to treat it seriously. You still dare to resist? You're courting death. Seeing Lin Xian's actions, the elder of the Yin family sneered. In his eyes, Lin Xian was like an ant. If such a person dared to fight with them, he had no chance of winning. With a cold snort, the elder of the Yin family waved his palm lightly. Suddenly, a purple ball of light appeared in the air. It carried a sinister and terrifying energy as it surged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's gaze sharpened. He quickly pulled out the Lone Star Sword and gently slashed at the air. In the next moment, the terrifying purple ball of light in the air cracked in half. It was as easy as cutting tofu. Seeing this, the elder of the Yin family's eyes shone with a terrifying light. As expected of a half-Earth class treasure, it was so sharp. He was too excited. The sharpness of the Lone Star Sword was beyond his imagination. A casual slash could break his normal attack. If he could get it, his combat strength would definitely increase by several times. Thinking of this, the elder of the Yin family's eyes were filled with greed. He roared and charged towards Lin Xian like a ghost. On the other side, Crazy Warrior also shouted coldly. His violent fist was mixed with unparalleled power as he charged forward. Boom. With a punch, the space in front of him quickly cracked open. The spiritual chi was sucked dry in an instant. The surging and vast power instantly enveloped Lin Xian. The power was too terrifying. An ordinary second-level supremacy would not be able to withstand such a casual punch. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. The Red Lotus armor quickly appeared on his body. At the same time, he held the Lone Star Sword in his hand and quickly slashed out countless sword chi. Clang, clang, clang. The air trembled slightly. The entire sky seemed to be about to explode as a terrifying and vast energy swept out in all directions. At the same time, the elder of the Yin family arrived in front of Lin Xian. He waved his purple ghost claw as if he wanted to tear Lin Xian apart. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He activated the Red Lotus armor to the maximum. A huge shadow of the Red Lotus armor formed on his body and blocked all the attacks. Bang, bang. When the attacks collided with the Red Lotus armor, the shockwave shook the sky and forced Lin Xian to retreat. However, he did not suffer any substantial damage. He can withstand the attacks. The elder of the Yin family was shocked. He did not expect Lin Xian to have such a protective defense. What an unexpected surprise. I will capture you later and take your soul. I must get my hands on this defensive skill. The elder of the Yin family sneered. He realized that Lin Xian was full of treasures. He could not let go of such a person. If you want the Lone Star Sword, exchange it with your lives. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He quickly swung the Lone Star Sword and slashed at the two of them. The sword chi, which was almost 100 feet long, was extremely sharp. It split the entire sky open. How terrifying. The surrounding people looked at the sky in shock. They were so far away but they could not withstand the sword chi. It was as if they were about to be split open. One could imagine how terrifying a half-Earth rank treasure was. However, the two of them were not to be outdone. Although the sword chi was terrifying, they retaliated with all their might. Clang. Chapter 836. The battle axe shone with a golden light like a mountain, causing the entire void to tremble. In the next moment it struck the sword chi, creating a series of sparks. Terrifying divine power spread out in all directions. The golden battle axe was smooth and shone with a golden light. Inscriptions quickly swam on it, blocking the Lone Star Sword chi. At the same time, the Yin family guardian elder's purple ghost claw slapped over, instantly tearing the air around Lin Xian. It was like a piece of cloth, torn beyond recognition. Boom. Lin Xian swung his fist to counter the attack. Red flames danced, forming a terrifying flame fist to resist the purple ghost claw. Even so, he was still sent flying. The force was too strong. As expected of a peak level 2 martial artist. However, the moment he retreated, he quickly slashed out with his sword. A terrifying sword chi merged into the void, forming a killing move that slashed forward. This sword chi merged with the concept of wind. It was extremely strange. It instantly merged into the void and disappeared without a trace. When it reappeared, it was already in front of the Yin family guardian elder, slashing down quickly. The Yin family guardian elder's pupils shrank. He was shocked. He did not expect this sword to be so strange. In a panic, he moved horizontally, leaving behind a purple afterimage. At the same time, he waved his sleeve, forming a purple shield in front of him. Boom. The two collided, creating a shocking sound. The purple shield was extremely mysterious. It actually blocked most of the sword chi. However, Lin Xian's sword chi was too sharp. Furthermore, it was activated by a half-Earth grade treasure. It could be said to be extremely powerful. Therefore, the remaining sword chi rushed out and left a terrifying wound on the Yin family guardian elder's body. Ah! The elder of the Yin family let out a blood-curdling scream as he quickly retreated 100 feet. He stared at Lin Xian with an extremely venomous gaze. He was not a body-tempering martial artist. Therefore, even though his cultivation was at the peak of level 2, he could not block such a terrifying sword chi. In addition, the sword chi just now was too strange. Therefore, it injured him directly. Brat, you dare to hurt me? I'll make you wish you were dead. The Yin family's guardian elder had a ferocious look on his face. Like a demon king, he glared at Lin Xian. The surrounding martial artists trembled in disbelief. They never thought that Lin Xian would be able to injure the Yin family's guardian elder so quickly. The Yin family elder's face was ferocious as purple energy surrounded his body. In the next moment, his head full of white hair quickly turned purple, making him look incomparably demonic. Lin Xian let out a long whistle and quickly unleashed the great dragon sword soul. Facing two powerful opponents, he had no choice but to go all out. Especially the other person, whose strength was incomparably strong, causing him to be extremely wary. Boom. The skies trembled as the void tore apart. A gigantic golden axe light that was 100 feet long slashed down rapidly. This axe light was too terrifying, causing the ground below to crack. Countless buildings were turned into ashes and disappeared in the wind. Golden light flashed, invincible, and instantly arrived in front of Lin Xian. Die, brat. A terrifying and ferocious voice rang out. The golden axe light tore apart the sky, and the terrifying power was like a vast ocean, extremely turbulent. However, this shocking axe light was blocked by Lin Xian's Lone Star Sword. There was a violent collision in the void, and a dazzling screen of light flew in all directions like fireworks. Seeing that his attack did not hit, Berserker roared. Golden light flashed on his body, forming a huge golden giant. He held the sky-splitting axe and slashed forward. He slashed out 18 times in a row, and divine light flashed in the sky. Every attack was like a shocking lightning bolt, forming a terrifying scene that enveloped Lin Xian. At the same time, the Yin family elder rushed over again. His head of purple hair was extremely ferocious, and his arms had become thick like two huge ghost claws that slapped down quickly. The terrifying power was vast. It was like two purple mountains that rampaged through the void, incomparably heavy. Their attacks were extremely terrifying, and even a third-rank honorable realm expert could not resist. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He had a battle plan in his mind, so he did not resist too much. Instead, he allowed the two huge attacks to hit him. Rumble. Blazing light flashed, and the two attacks enveloped him. A shocking explosion occurred, and a terrifying light covered the entire sky. Lin Xian used an Earth-class movement technique and dodged quickly. At the same time, the red lotus armor on his body shone brightly and blocked most of the attacks. In the next moment, he used a spell to condense a blood-colored clone and handed the Lone Star Sword to it. He condensed a blood-colored slaughter sword and held it in his hand. Whoosh! In an instant, the blood-colored clone disappeared into the void. Ha ha! Thief, let's see how you escape. The Yen family elder's hair was disheveled, and his face was ferocious. This attack was launched by him and Berserker together. That thief would definitely not be able to resist it. The surrounding people were shocked and kept shaking their heads. Looking at this scene, Lin Xian would definitely not be able to survive. On the back of the huge beast, the Yin family disciples sneered. Provoking the Yin family would definitely not be able to escape death. Berserker held the giant axe with a serious expression. He did not let his guard down because even if Lin Xian died, the following battle would be even more terrifying. That was because it concerned the ownership of the Lone Star Sword. Kid, of all the things you shouldn't have done, you shouldn't have offended the Yin family. The guardian elder sneered and walked forward step by step. However, in the next moment, a blood-colored figure appeared beside him. With a flash of sword radiance, it quickly slashed down. What? The guardian elder's expression changed drastically and his pupils constricted. He did not expect that someone else would attack. With a roar, he activated his spiritual energy and dodged quickly. That sword radiance made him shudder and he did not dare to take it head-on. Even so, he was still one step too late. With a scream, the Yin family elder's entire right arm turned into a bloody mist and dissipated into the sky. Half of his body was torn apart and almost split in half. After the successful attack, the blood-colored figure turned into a ray of light and quickly retreated. Kid, I'll kill you. The Yin family elder roared ferociously like an injured beast. He swore that he would torture Lin Xian to death. A terrifying claw covered the sky and quickly grabbed forward. He could see that the blood-colored radiance was the Lone Star Sword. He had to get the Lone Star Sword and torture that despicable bastard to death. In the next moment, in the violent energy wave in front of him, a shocking blood-colored sword radiance lit up and quickly split everything in half. Lin Xian was like a sword. He used the illusory demon steps and grabbed the Lone Star Sword. Flying Star Sword. Kill him while he's down. Since he had severely injured the guardian elder of the Yen family, Lin Xian did not plan to let him leave alive. Therefore he used a powerful killing move right from the start. A cold light condensed in the sky. Lin Xian carried the Lone Star Sword and disappeared like a meteor. In the next moment, the Yin family elder screamed again. Half of his chest had a bloody hole. It was terrifying. If it were not for his powerful strength, he would have died by now. Chapter 837. The elder of the Yin family roared. He did not expect that he would be severely injured in an instant. Moreover, the person who injured him was someone that he had always regarded as an ant. At this moment, countless people were shocked and dumbfounded. They could not believe what had just happened. The disciples of the Yin family cried out in fear. They did not expect that the guardian elder that they were so proud of would be severely injured and almost die. They could not accept it. Thief, I will kill you. Countless disciples of the Yin family roared. Let's see who will kill who today. Lin Xian sneered. He waved his sleeve and released the golden-feathered divine eagle. The golden-feathered divine eagle roared as it appeared. It spread its wings and formed a pair of golden wings that were hundreds of feet long. Every feather was shining with a golden light. It was like a sword light that was extremely sharp. In the next moment, countless rays of light shot into the sky and turned into divine swords that fell down. 108,000 swords. In an instant, countless rays of sword light whistled and enveloped the hundreds of disciples of the Yen family. Buzz buzz buzz. The sword light tore through the void. Countless martial artists of the Yen family screamed as they were pierced by the golden divine swords. Their blood dyed the sky red. Their screams were like the cries of ghosts. Massacre. This was a naked massacre. The golden feathered divine eagle was extremely powerful. Even a second-rank honorable was no match for it. Among the disciples of the Yen family, other than a few powerful honorables, the other ordinary martial artists were no match for it. Seeing those martial artists die, the guardian elder of the Yen family roared ferociously. His body emitted a terrifying aura like a demon as he let out a sharp cry. "Kid, I will kill you." His eyes were filled with killing intent and unwillingness. "If you want to kill me, you should be prepared to be killed." Lin Xian's voice was cold. If he did not kill these people, he would be killed by them. Therefore this battle had to end with blood. The elder of the Yen family roared ferociously. However, he was powerless. He was already severely injured and was no match for Lin Xian. Therefore he looked at Quang Zhan. "Quang Zhan, city lord, kill him." The guardian elder of the Yen family shouted, "This bastard is too despicable." Not only did he kill the disciples of the Yen family, he also killed the geniuses of the Golden Palace. Such a person must be eliminated. Seeing Mad Warrior's silence, Yen clan's first elder clenched his teeth and said, "As long as Brother Mad Warrior makes a move, I'll give up the Lone Star Sword." A piece of trash like you wants the Lone Star Sword? Mad Warrior snorted and stared coldly at the Yen family protector elder. "What did you say?" Hearing the other party call him trash, the Yen clan's law protector elder flew into a rage. He had never been humiliated like this before, even if the other party was the deputy city lord of the Great Axe City. Am I wrong? A second-type venerable one was severely injured by a little thief. How dare someone like you covet the Lone Star Sword? Hurry up and scram. Otherwise don't blame me for being rude. The Yen clan elder was so angry that he was trembling. The wound that had been sealed opened again and blood spurted out. Good. My Yen clan will remember this enmity and will definitely return it in the future. The Yen clan's law protector elder's eyes were gloomy as he gritted his teeth and said. He knew that he could not stay any longer today. He had to leave quickly and ask the clan to send another master. Are you threatening me? Mad Warrior was furious. He snorted coldly and took a step forward. The golden axe in his hand quickly slashed out like a mountain, smashing towards the Yen clan's elder. The Yen clan's elder was shocked. He did not expect Mad Warrior to attack him. In an instant, his face was filled with fear and anger. He channeled all his remaining spiritual power, wanting to escape. However, the axe was too violent and sudden. It completely covered all directions and he could not escape at all. Bang! A low sound was heard. The Yen clan's elder was hit by the heavenly axe. He immediately screamed and his body was split in half. What? Everyone gasped in shock. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Mad Warrior killed the Yen clan's law protector elder? This was too shocking. Was he not afraid of causing a war between the two clans? At this moment, the surviving warriors of the Yen clan were stunned when they saw this scene. They were so stunned that they even forgot to escape. This change was too sudden. Their law protector elder was killed by someone, and the one who did it was Mad Warrior. What? The middle-aged man from the Yen clan roared at the sky, filled with sorrow and confusion. Aren't you afraid that the Yen clan will start a war with the Huge Axe City? Let's start a war then. Do you think the Huge Axe City is afraid of the Yen clan? Mad Warrior sneered. You are too naive. Do you think that if I don't kill him, he won't kill me? In front of the Lone Star Sword, everyone is an enemy. Anyway, this old man is already crippled. It's good to get rid of him and have one less potential enemy. Isn't it better? As for the Yen clan, when I get the Lone Star Sword, do you think I will be afraid of you? Mad Warrior had thought of everything. This was not a reckless attack, but a meticulous plan. The middle-aged man was furious. The Yen clan will not let you go. Let's go. He waved his hand and wanted to leave with the remaining dozen people. You want to leave? Stay here. Mad Warrior roared and stepped out. Golden light bloomed from his body and quickly condensed into a golden giant that was 100 feet tall. Then the golden giant slapped down. The huge golden palm covered the sky and quickly enveloped the dozen Yen clan martial artists. No. I can't accept this. The middle-aged man roared at the sky, full of unwillingness. He did not expect the huge Axe City to backstab him this time. Even the Yen clan's team was wiped out. The merciless palm fell and crushed the dozen Yen clan martial artists into a bloody mist. Everyone was shocked and dumbfounded. It was too shocking. They did not expect this scene at all. On the golden boat, the huge Axe City martial artists looked cold. No matter what Mad Warrior did, they would obey him unconditionally. Lin Xian smiled disdainfully and said indifferently, "What's there to be shocked about? It's just a dog biting another dog. How dare you? How dare you insult our deputy city master? You are courting death." When the huge Axe City martial artists heard Lin Xian's voice, they were furious and stared coldly at Lin Xian. Courting death? Lin Xian sneered. If I don't say it, will you let me go? Whether you say it or not, I won't let you go. Mad Warrior's voice was cold. However, you should know that there are many ways to die. One of them is to make you wish you were dead. So watch your mouth. Otherwise you will end up in a miserable state. Miserable state? Lin Xian sneered. Don't you think you are an idiot? Both of you couldn't take me down. Now that one is dead, do you think you can take me down? I was just testing you. I didn't use my full strength. Mad Warrior said coldly. When I use my full strength, you can't escape death. Is that so? I look forward to it. Chapter 838. At the same time, the Huang clan, Lung clan and others rushed over. This time they were determined to kill Lin Xian. Soon the entire sky was bustling with activity. Countless forces rushed over, crowding the sky so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. Lin Xian, hand over the Lone Star Sword and I'll spare your life. The Lone Star Sword is not something you can take. Hand it over quickly and I'll spare your life. Countless cold shouts rang out. These people's target was the Lone Star Sword. In an instant, Lin Xian became the target of everyone's attention. At this moment, the sky trembled and another group of people rushed over. However, when the crowd saw these people, they were stunned for a moment. This group of people was very small, only about 20 people. However, they were extremely powerful and no one dared to stop them. Wherever they passed, the crowd would make way for them. Lin Xian furrowed his brows when he saw the newcomer. The Wanxiang auction. What are they doing here? Lin Xian was puzzled. He did not think that the Wanxiang auction would stand up for him at this moment. One had to know that until now, these people had been blinded by the flames of desire and would not stop at all. No matter how powerful the Wanxiang auction was, they could not suppress so many forces at the same time. Furthermore, Lin Xian did not believe that the Wanxiang auction would be so stupid as to offend so many forces for him. Therefore, the Wanxiang auction's appearance was very strange. More than 20 martial artists from the Wanxiang auction entered. The one in front was the beautiful lady in palace attire. Beside her was a middle-aged man in purple with a pale face and no beard. This middle-aged man was the martial artist who had visited Lin Xian's courtyard previously. Young hero Lin, how have you been? I didn't expect us to meet again so soon. The middle-aged man in purple chuckled. According to the current situation, young hero Lin's situation does not seem to be very good. Have you thought about what I said? Hearing this, the crowd was shocked and their expressions changed. The various forces looked at each other with serious expressions. Little did they know that Lin Xian was secretly in contact with the Wanxiang auction. The purple-clothed middle-aged man smiled again and said, "My conditions are still valid. As long as young hero Lin Xian joins us, the Vientiane auction house will guarantee your safety." What? The Wanxiang auction actually wanted to protect Lin Xian? What's going on? Countless people were shocked, not daring to believe this. One had to know that Lin Xian was currently the target of public criticism. He had offended more than one faction. It was unwise for the Wanxiang auction to make a move now. Even if Lin Xian was exceptionally talented, powerful, and a good martial arts seedling, it was not worth taking such a big risk. On the other hand, Lin Xian frowned slightly. There must be a reason for this abnormal situation. Since the Wanxiang auction house had put in so much effort, it would not be so easy for them to take him in. What exactly were they plotting? Lin Xian couldn't understand. Although his talent was unparalleled and his combat strength was extremely strong, the world was vast and there were countless geniuses. The Wanxiang auction house would not offend so many people for him. Therefore, if the other party simply wanted him to join them, Lin Xian didn't believe it at all. What was left was the most important item in his possession, the Lone Star Sword. However, this item was originally auctioned off at the Wanxiang auction house. If the other party wanted it, they could have just not auctioned it off and kept it for themselves. Therefore, Lin Xian couldn't figure out what the other party was plotting. Young man, although these people look calm, their eyes hide a deep greed. They are definitely plotting something from you. The dark red dragon also transmitted his voice at this moment. He was an old monster who had lived for countless years. Naturally, he saw more things than Lin Xian. Although the other party appeared calm, the greed that came from the depths of their bodies couldn't escape the dark red dragon's eyes. Lin Xian nodded slightly and became cautious. Then he laughed loudly and said, "If you are sincere, then let these people leave now. We can talk in private." Although the Wanxiang auction house was selfish, Lin Xian could totally use them to drive the remaining forces away. This way his chances of escaping would be much higher. Lin Xian wanted to use the Wanxiang auction house to drive the remaining forces away. This way his chances of escaping would be much higher. Hearing this, the purple-robed man's face froze and he frowned slightly. He didn't expect Lin Xian to make such an offer. This was clearly to sow discord between the Wanxiang auction house and the other forces. If they didn't get what they wanted, they would have already started a war with countless other forces. How could they do such a thing? At least, the purple-robed man couldn't make the decision. He took a deep breath and looked at the beautiful woman in palace attire in front of him. The beautiful woman in palace attire was called Shangguan Xian. She held a very high position in the Wanxiang auction house and was also the commander of this operation. Hearing Lin Xian's words, she smiled faintly and said, "Why do we need to let these people leave? As long as young hero Lin comes to our side and leaves with us, I guarantee that none of these people will dare to do anything. This is the wilderness, it's not the place to talk. Young hero Lin, why don't you come back with us to the Wanxiang auction house and we can discuss this in detail?" Hearing this, Lin Xian's face was calm, but his heart was shocked. This woman's words were even more targeted. It seemed like she really wanted Lin Xian to follow them back to the Wanxiang auction house. If this was any other time, it wouldn't be a big deal. However, at this critical moment, this was too abnormal. After all, Lin Xian was the target of countless people. Now the Wanxiang auction house wanted to invite Lin Xian to join them. No matter how one looked at it, it seemed like they wanted to surround Lin Xian without shedding a single drop of blood. After all, the Wanxiang auction house was the headquarters of these people. Their forces were definitely strong. If Lin Xian went in, it would be like a lamb entering a tiger's den. It would be impossible for him to come out. Not only was Lin Xian shocked, but the people from the other forces were also shocked. They came here to capture Lin Xian, not to watch the Wanxiang auction house take him away. The Huang and Lung families didn't dare to say anything, but the giant axe city wasn't afraid of the Wanxiang auction house at all. Among them, Guangzhan snorted and said coldly, "What is the meaning of this? Do you want to fight with us for the Lone Star Sword?" Hearing this, everyone was shocked again. They were all shocked. Yes, at this critical moment, the Wanxiang auction house took action. Was it really for the Lone Star Sword? But that shouldn't be the case. They were the ones who released the Lone Star Sword. Why would they take it back now? Seeing the doubts of the crowd, Shangguan Xian snorted coldly. "My Wanxiang auction house's actions are not for you to tell us what to do." She was very strong. Even when faced with the doubts of so many forces, she wasn't afraid. Young hero Lin quickly make a decision. "We can't stay here for long," Shangguan Xian said. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He knew that he had to make a decision now. He could either temporarily ally with the Wanxiang auction house and leave this place, or immediately start a war. Chapter 839. However, Lin Xian had already received a hint from the dark red godly dragon. He would not be so stupid as to directly approach the other party. He used the blood shadow doppelganger technique and used the heaven-changing spell to quickly form an identical doppelganger. Subsequently, he pulled out the Star Scar sword and quickly wrapped it up, turning it into the appearance of the Lone Star Sword. Lin Xian took the Lone Star Sword and used the heaven-changing spell to carefully hide on the side. This move was extremely fast. Lin Xian had used almost all of his strength to complete it. With the help of the dark red godly dragon, he had successfully concealed himself from everyone. His real body was hidden in the air without any aura, as if it did not exist. Even a third-layer venerable would not be able to discover it. The blood shadow doppelganger that he had formed slowly walked towards the Wanxiang auction. Lin Xian had hidden himself very well. No one had discovered anything strange. Instead, when the other party saw that Lin Xian was approaching the auction, they all became anxious. The angriest party was the huge Axe City, especially Mad Warrior. He had finally killed a powerful opponent, the Yin family's law protector elder, and wanted to take the Lone Star Sword for himself. However, he did not expect so many people to come. Moreover, what was even more despicable was that the Wanxiang auction wanted to take away his target. How could he tolerate this? At the same time, on the gold boat, a 30-something-year-old youth shouted coldly, "Leave the Lone Star Sword behind." In the next moment, his body shot out like a ghost, quickly grabbing towards the front. A huge palm appeared, like a golden skeleton hand, quickly grabbing towards Lin Xian. On the Wanxiang auction side, the purple-robed middle-aged man snorted coldly and also punched out. A bright light flashed and collided with the golden skeleton hand, creating a rumbling sound. Then the two energies dissipated in the sky. "Sir, what do you mean by attacking our Wanxiang auction's guest?" The purple-robed middle-aged man said coldly. "What do I mean? Get lost." Mad Warrior was enraged. He took a step forward, and his aura surged like an ancient beast. Just his aura alone was enough to push the purple-robed middle-aged man back. The purple-robed middle-aged man retreated, cracking the void. His face was pale and his eyes were filled with shock. Quang Zhan was extremely furious. He held the golden battle axe in his hand and swung it down. The terrifying axe light enveloped all the martial artists in the Wanxiang auction house. In an instant, the 20 or so people from the Wanxiang auction held their breaths as their scalps went numb. The other party's attacks were too terrifying, making them unable to resist at all. Fortunately, they still had the woman in the palace dress. Sheng Wanxian coldly snorted. She raised her jade-like hands and quickly slapped out. This palm carried a very mysterious charm and a mysterious power as it blocked the golden battle axe. In the void, Lin Xian's real body was hidden. When he saw this scene, he immediately narrowed his eyes. He did not expect that the woman in the palace dress was also a peerless expert. It seemed like the Wanxiang auction's strength was not to be underestimated. After blocking the golden battle axe with a single strike, Sheng Wanxian's cold voice rang out. "Although the Great Axe Prefecture is powerful, the Vientiane auction house is not afraid of you. If you continue to cause trouble, then don't blame us for being impolite. You can take him away, but you must leave the Lone Star Sword behind." Quang Zhan made a concession. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he did not want to start a war with the Wanxiang auction house. "As for this, we can't make the decision. Of course we have to ask young hero Lin." Sheng Wanxian smiled sweetly. Instantly, everyone's gaze turned towards Lin Xian again. At this moment, Lin Xian's clone had also arrived in front of the Wanxiang auction house. Seeing the figure close by, the purple-clothed middle-aged man's eyes flashed with greed, but he quickly hid it. Sheng Wanxian smiled and said, "Young hero Lin, don't worry. Your decision will definitely not be wrong." As soon as she finished speaking, she suddenly reached out with lightning speed. Her jade-like hands were like white lightning, extremely fast. She grabbed the drum core sword on Lin Xian's back. Then, with a flick of her wrist, she snatched the Lone Star Sword. "Wah!" Sheng Wanxian laughed complacently as she let out a silver chime. The purple-clothed middle-aged man behind her and the other Wanxiang auction house martial artists also laughed heartily. They could easily get the Lone Star Sword, which others could not get even after trying so hard. There was nothing happier than this. This scene shocked everyone. Countless people were dumbfounded and their minds went blank. What kind of show is the Wanxiang auction house playing? Is their goal really the Lone Star Sword? You guys. Lin Xian's clone also pretended to be shocked and asked in shock, "What are you doing?" "What are we doing?" Sheng Wanxian smiled. "Young hero, don't worry. I think the Lone Star Sword is very dangerous. Why don't you keep it with me for the time being?" She played with the Lone Star Sword and said casually. She did not take Lin Xian seriously at all. Lin Xian, who was far away in the sky, laughed coldly in his heart. As expected, they are up to no good. They are eyeing the Lone Star Sword. Although he did not know why they would go back on their words and snatch the Lone Star Sword at this moment, Lin Xian had no doubt that the Wanxiang auction house had been blacklisted. If he had the chance, he would not hesitate to take action. At the same time, a cold smile appeared on his face. He was curious to see the expressions of the people at the Wanxiang auction house when they found out that the Lone Star Sword was fake. The expressions of the other factions changed greatly as well. They stared at Sheng Wanxian, or more accurately, the Lone Star Sword in her hand. The Wanxiang auction house's actions were too abnormal. If they wanted the Lone Star Sword, they would not have auctioned it. Why would they snatch it now? Are they just trying to earn 1 billion middle spiritual stones? The crowd could not understand. Although 1 billion middle spiritual stones was a huge sum, it was not enough for the Wanxiang auction house to snatch it without caring about their reputation. The most important thing for an auction house was its reputation. Without a good reputation, it would not be able to do anything, let alone go back on their words and snatch something that had already been sold. This was definitely a taboo for an auction house. Yet, the Wanxiang auction house was doing something like this. Are they crazy? I thought you guys were really after the talent. It turns out that you guys are also after the Lone Star Sword. Crazy Warrior laughed coldly. If that's the case, then don't blame me for being merciless. He was furious. He was so close to getting the Lone Star Sword. However, it was now in the hands of the people at the Wanxiang auction house. It would be much harder to snatch it from them than to snatch it from Lin Xian. Shang Guanxian laughed coldly when she saw the surrounding people staring at her. I know that this young hero Lin has a grudge against most of you. How about this? We'll take the Lone Star Sword. As for this young hero Lin, I'll leave him to you guys. If you have grievances, take revenge. If you have grievances, take revenge. Vent the anger in your hearts, okay? She was smiling, but her words were vicious. She did not care about Lin Xian's life at all. Chapter 840. Quang Zhan snorted coldly and took a step forward. Golden light shone from his body and quickly formed 100 feet tall golden giant. A terrifying aura covered the area, making it hard for the crowd to breathe. Shang Guanxian's face turned cold. She took a deep breath and said coldly, Quang Zhan, let me give you a piece of advice. Do you think that the Lone Star Sword is something that only the Wanxiang auction wants? I advise you to stop now and stop interfering in this matter. Otherwise, you won't be able to bear the consequences. At that time, even the entire Golden Palace won't be able to bear it, let alone the giant Axe City. Shang Guanxian's cold voice resounded in the area. Hearing this, the crowd was shocked. Shang Guanxian's words sounded like a warning, but there was a lot of information in it. At least, it revealed that the Lone Star Sword wasn't something that the Wanxiang auction wanted. It seemed like they were ordered to take it by force. As for who could order the powerful Wanxiang auction, a name suddenly appeared in the crowd's mind. Could it be him? Thinking of that person, countless people gasped and their bodies trembled. Even the surrounding forces were fearless. Quang Zhan frowned. He naturally guessed the force behind the Wanxiang auction. However, he couldn't care less now. He had to get the Lone Star Sword. He snorted coldly. His eyes were filled with arrogance and an aura that looked down on the world. The giant golden giant on his body held the golden battle axe and slashed down. Stubborn. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Shang Guanxian snorted and quickly waved the Lone Star Sword in her hand, striking out a dazzling sword shadow. The sword chi swept out, making people's hearts beat faster. It quickly collided with the golden battle axe. In an instant, countless sword chi shattered and was split into two by the golden battle axe. What? This is impossible. Shang Guanxian's face changed drastically. She couldn't understand how the other party could break her sword chi. One should know that the sword in her hand was a half-Earth-rank treasure. She gritted her teeth and a trace of anger appeared on her face. She quickly waved her hand and the Lone Star Sword in her hand instantly became 100 feet long giant sword. She waved the giant sword and slashed at the golden battle axe in the air. Die. She sneered. With the power of a half-Earth-rank treasure and her strength, this sword could definitely split the golden battle axe in half. Kaka. The sound of metal tearing could be heard. However, what was broken was not the heavenly axe. Instead, it was the enormous solitary star sword. What? How is this possible? Shang Guanxian was stunned. Her face was filled with shock. She did not believe that the dignified solitary star sword, a half-Earth-rank treasure, would actually shatter like this. The others were also stupefied. They stared blankly at the sky, not daring to believe it. The legendary half-Earth-step treasure was broken just like that? Could it be the next moment? An idea suddenly arose in his mind. No, this is not true. Shang Guanxian shook his head. However, before she could finish her thought, a terrifying murderous aura came from the left side of her body, as if it wanted to tear her apart. With a cold snort, Shang Guanxian's body moved horizontally. Like a ghost, he quickly disappeared from his original spot. Lin Xian, you're courting death. When Shang Guanxian saw that the one who launched the sneak attack was actually Lin Xian, he immediately flew into a rage. An ant-like existence actually dared to sneak attack her? He was really courting death. In the next moment, she threw out her palm and launched a terrifying attack. She wanted to kill Lin Xian with her palm. However, Lin Xian's doppelganger revealed a sinister smile. His body glowed with blood-red light, and a shocking blood-red murderous aura was released from his body, shrouding all the martial artists who were looking at the auction. Bang! An earth-shattering sound reverberated in all directions. Countless rays of blood-red light burst and a terrifying explosion occurred. Terrifying energy swept in all directions, smashing a terrifying black hole in the void. The crowd was terrified and quickly retreated. At the same time, they were extremely shocked. The change in the scene was too strange. They could not understand it at all. The blood-red light dissipated and the sky became clear again. However, more than 10 people from the Vientiane auction had completely disappeared from the void, leaving not even ashes behind. The remaining few martial artists were also injured all over, and all of them were screaming in pain. Even the middle-aged man in the purple robe had one of his arms blown off. Blood flowed from his body and he looked extremely miserable. The only one who was not injured was Xian. However, her face was extremely gloomy at the moment. Lin Xian, I will definitely kill you. If she still could not understand what was going on, then she could just go and die. This was a trap set up by Lin Xian. That Lin Xian was not the real Lin Xian and the Lone Star Sword was fake. All of this was an illusion created by Lin Xian. She was a peak second heaven martial highness expert and the person in charge of the Vientiane auction. How could she be fooled by a young brat? Thinking of this, her heart went crazy and was filled with hatred. The funny thing was that she did not think that if they had not set up Lin Xian and wanted to take the Lone Star Sword, how could they have fallen into his trap? If they had not been so vicious to snatch the Lone Star Sword and leave Lin Xian behind without caring about his death, why would Lin Xian attack them? Therefore, the Vientiane auction had brought all of this upon themselves. The others were shocked too. They did not expect the powerful Vientiane auction to be set up by someone else. Quang Zhan burst out laughing, his eyes filled with disdain. The Vientiane auction really deserved it. If you had not set up such a trap, how could you have ended up like this? What you did is called reaping what you sowed. You only have yourself to blame. Quang Zhan burst out laughing. This was too satisfying. Although his target was also the Lone Star Sword, he still admired Lin Xian's actions. Xian harumphed coldly. Her eyes were like lightning as she quickly scanned her surroundings. Following this, she clenched her teeth and said, Lin Xian, you better come out and hand over the Lone Star Sword. If not, there will be no way for you to live. Is that so? Are you threatening me? A calm voice was heard. You can think of it that way. I advise you to be smart, or else you will end up in a miserable state. Lin Xian burst out laughing as his faint voice was heard once again. Many people are threatening me. Who do you think you are? His voice was filled with disdain and disdain. He did not take the Vientiane auction seriously at all. Hearing this, the crowd was shocked, then relieved. Indeed, the current Lin Xian was the arrogant and unruly young man they knew. It seemed like the alliance with the auction was only a temporary measure. Don't be so arrogant. You killed so many people from the Vientiane auction. I will tear you to pieces. Xian's voice was cold. She waved her jade-like hands and shot out rays of light that spread out in all directions. In an instant, the wind and clouds changed as a terrifying palm shadow covered the entire sky. In order to kill Lin Xian, the first step was to find Lin Xian. The terrifying energy was vast and it swept across the entire sky like a wave. Don't waste your energy. Aren't you just trying to find me? Lin Xian sneered. The air rippled as Lin Xian stepped out and revealed himself. I'm right here. Do it if you can. Although he was laughing, his voice was unusually cold. Indeed, he was filled with killing intent towards the Vientiane auction. They had such evil intentions. They wanted to steal his Lone Star Sword and kill him. Chapter 841. You still dare to come out? You're courting death. When Xian saw Lin Xian, she immediately laughed sinisterly. As long as he appeared, she had 100 ways to make him suffer a fate worse than death. With a wave of her jade-like hand, Xian quickly attacked. A huge hand covered the sky. It was as white as jade and surrounded by multicolored light, emitting a terrifying aura. The palm slammed down and enveloped the opponent. In an instant, the entire sky was enveloped and turned into chaos. Everyone exclaimed. The palm was too terrifying. It was as vast as the sky. Lin Xian sneered. He held the Lone Star Sword in his hand and raised his combat strength to the extreme. He quickly swung his sword. A blood-red divine bird quickly flew out from the sword. On it, blood light flickered and blazing divine flames danced. Half of the sky was reflected red, as if it was a blood-red world. It carried a monstrous killing aura and a vast and terrifying flame aura. Boom! A terrifying sound resounded in all directions. The jade-like palm released a tsunami-like energy. The sky collapsed and the earth caved in, destroying everything. The divine bird formed by the sword chi was also incomparably fierce. It waved its beast claws and tore the space apart. This was a terrifying collision. Pure white light filled the vast world. The two resonated and emitted a destructive aura, shocking the surrounding martial artists. Bam bam bam. Both of them retreated as fast as lightning. Every step they took caused the void to explode. They retreated a few hundred feet before they stabilized their bodies. However, Sheng Wanxian's heart was filled with shock. The other party was a first heaven honorable realm brat, but he was on par with her. Although the other party had a half-earth rank artifact, she still couldn't accept it. One had to know that she was an existence that could kill a third heaven honorable realm. With a cold snort, Sheng Wanxian quickly summoned her martial soul. This time she was going to attack with all her might and kill the other party. The void behind her fluctuated, revealing a piece of chaos. A jade-like palm stretched out from the chaos, emitting a pure white light. This is. Everyone below was shocked because the aura emitted by the palm was too terrifying. It made them tremble and even had the urge to kneel down. Even Quang Zhan's face was solemn. Mysterious jade hand, he didn't expect her to have such a martial soul. Quang Zhan's words were filled with fear. Brat, you should be proud that you made me use my martial spirit. Don't worry, after I get the Lone Star Sword, I'll torture you to death. Like a demoness, she laughed sinisterly before disappearing into thin air. With a flash of light, Sheng Wanxian had already arrived before Lin Xian. His palm mercilessly slammed down, instantly shattering the void. Lin Xian, on the other hand, used the illusory demon steps and quickly dodged the attack. Then he also activated the great dragon sword soul in his body. A deep dragon's roar sounded from within his body. Then, a shocking sword will erupted and swept through the 9 heavens. Lin Xian was like a reborn sword, swift and fierce to the extreme. With the Lone Star Sword in his hand, he was like a god of death. Tens of thousands of sword rays burst forth from his body, and they were extremely dazzling. Kill. With a furious roar, Lin Xian also quickly attacked. He slashed out with his sword. The terrifying sword chi was as black as ink, like an abyss. It carried with it the power of death. It was incomparably turbulent and swept toward Sheng Wanxian. Sword of Nirvana. Sheng Wanxian frowned. Her pure white palm was like a jade mountain. It quickly descended, wanting to crush Lin Xian into a bloody mist. Behind her, the mysterious white palm was covered with strange patterns that flickered with a dazzling brilliance. Boom! The two collided. The terrifying energy was like a flood that surged into the sky, vast and mighty. The sword of Nirvana was incomparably black. It crazily devoured all the vitality and energy, wanting to completely destroy the mysterious jade hand. The mysterious jade hand was incomparably white, like white jade, emitting a terrifying energy. Sheng Wanxian was very confident. Her martial spirit was indestructible and invincible. With a furious roar, she injected all her spirit energy into the mysterious jade hand. Then the entire mysterious jade hand erupted with a dazzling light, like a bright moon. It quickly attacked and shattered the sword of Nirvana. Ah! My mysterious jade hand is incomparably profound. It's not something you can resist. Now die. Sheng Wanxian laughed sinisterly. However, she had still underestimated the power of the sword of Nirvana. Although the sword chi was shattered, the power of Nirvana did not disappear. Instead, it formed a black mist that enveloped Sheng Wanxian's body. Waves of power that seemed to come from hell crazily absorbed her vitality. What is this? Sheng Wanxian was alarmed. Her expression changed drastically and she was so scared that her beautiful face turned pale. She could clearly feel that the vitality and spirit energy in her body were rapidly draining away, like a withered flower that would soon wither. Her expression changed drastically. Like a frightened rabbit, she instantly retreated 100 feet. Then she pushed her spirit energy with all her might and poured it into the mysterious jade hand. She struck out with a dazzling palm shadow, causing the entire sky to fall into chaos. Only then was she able to resist the power of death. From the beginning to the end, Lin Xian had only swung his sword once. However, Sheng Wanxian had used countless methods and even used her martial spirit to break through it. The difference in strength was immediately distinguished. The surrounding people were shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian to be so powerful that he could even suppress Shang Guanxian. Shang Guanxian was even more furious. Her expression was unsettled. She knew that she had underestimated her opponent's strength this time. It seemed that her plan had to be changed. Being suppressed by Lin Xian, Shang Guanxian was furious. However, she did not immediately make a move. Instead, her eyes flickered as she pondered. Since she could not deal with the other party by force, she could only think of other ways. After all, her main goal was to obtain the Lone Star Sword. No matter what method she used, she had to obtain it. Taking a deep breath, Shang Guanxian tried her best to control her emotions and said in a deep voice, "Lin Xian, I think there is some misunderstanding between us. It was indeed my fault for attacking you before. I apologize to you here." Hearing this, everyone was shocked. Shang Guanxian actually apologized. Everyone could not believe it and suspected that there was something wrong with their ears. Lin Xian also frowned slightly and looked at the other party with a cold smile. Shang Guanxian continued, "My goal is very simple. I want to take back the Lone Star Sword. No matter what the price is, as long as you say it, I will definitely be able to do it." Seeing Lin Xian shake his head, she hurriedly said, "How about this? I will return the 1 billion spiritual stones that you used to buy the Lone Star Sword. How about that?" "Impossible." Lin Xian shook his head and rejected her decisively. "Then what if I pay double the price?" Shang Guanxian said, "This time, it was indeed our Wanxiang auction's recklessness. I will pay 2 billion spiritual stones as an apology and redeem the Lone Star Sword. What do you think?" 2 billion. Everyone was shocked. This price had exceeded the price of the Lone Star Sword. Was the Wanxiang auction crazy? The surrounding martial artists were also suspicious. What was the other party trying to do? Chapter 842. At the thought of this, his heart trembled. No matter what, he had obtained the Lone Star Sword from the auction. Regardless of whether there was a secret behind it, he would not hand it over. I have never heard of anyone redeeming an item that was auctioned off. Lin Xian shook his head and rejected. "If you want to fight, I will accompany you anytime. If you don't want to fight, then get lost." Seeing Lin Xian reject her twice, Shang Guanxian's face turned cold. She was so angry that she panted and her body trembled. "Lin Xian, if you know what's good for you, you'd better hand over the Lone Star Sword. Otherwise, you won't be able to bear the consequences. Get lost or die." Lin Xian's reply was simple. "Just you wait. Soon you will regret the decision you made today," Shang Guanxian said coldly. She then turned around and left with the rest of the martial artists. Leaving just like that? The crowd was shocked. They did not expect the powerful Shang Guanxian to leave at this moment. The martial artists from the major forces looked at each other. However, they were not idiots. They had already guessed that there was something wrong with the Lone Star Sword. There might be some hidden secrets behind it. Otherwise, the Vientiane auction would not have made such a strange move. However, although the crowd was excited, no one dared to act rashly. They had seen how powerful Lin Xian was. He could even suppress Shang Guanxian. He was definitely terrifying. Other than a few experts, no one could capture him. "Do you want to fight?" Lin Xian looked around and said arrogantly. Many people felt their hearts tremble when they were swept by his sharp gaze. They felt as though they were being pierced. Especially the martial artists from the Huang and Lung families, they did not even dare to breathe loudly. Lin Xian's strength had long exceeded their control. Of course, there were some who were not convinced. Although they could not defeat Lin Xian in a one-on-one fight, they could definitely kill him if they worked together. Therefore, some people secretly joined forces with two other forces and attacked together. In the end, dozens of martial artists were slashed into a bloody mist by Lin Xian's sword. No one survived. This scene made the others not dare to attack anymore. Mad War and the rest looked coldly at Lin Xian. At this moment, an arrogant laugh was heard. "Ah, others may be afraid of you, but I'm not. Kid, hand over the Lone Star Sword and I'll let you live." This voice was extremely arrogant, as if he didn't put anyone in his eyes. Everyone was shocked as they gazed towards the sky. They wanted to know who it was that dared to boast like this. In the void, countless maple leaves drifted down, bringing with them a desolate mood. 6 women walked through the void with swords in their arms. In the middle of them was a red palanquin. That voice sounded from the palanquin. Hong Wuji. Seeing this scene, someone exclaimed. They had long heard of Hong Wuji's name. Moreover, many of them had seen this domineering new year in Windy City. Who would have thought that even Hong Wuji was going to make a move? he was also a peerless genius. His combat strength was probably not inferior to Lin Xian's. Everyone was discussing and looking forward to it. With a flash of light, Hong Wuji stood in the void, looking down at Lin Xian. "Brat, hand over the Lone Star Sword and I'll spare your life." "You want me to hand over my sword? Speak with your abilities." Lin Xian's gaze was firm as sword chi surrounded his body. "Stubborn." Hong Wuji snorted coldly as he quickly drew out a sword. Stepping through the void, he slowly walked towards Lin Xian. With every step he took, the sword chi on his body became stronger. The sharp sword intent also became stronger. In the end, there were 6 streaks of sword chi beside him. They connected heaven and earth like heavenly pillars, emitting a terrifying aura. Everyone was shocked. They held their breaths as their bodies trembled uncontrollably. Their eyes were filled with horror. This was definitely an incredible young man. Just with the 6 streaks of sword chi, he had already surpassed most second-level honorables. Such means were rare in the world. Another terrifying genius. I wonder who's stronger between him and Lin Xian? Everyone was discussing. "Brat, I'll give you one last chance. Hand over the Lone Star Sword and I'll spare your life." Hong Wuji's body was surrounded by sword chi as if he was a sword god. "The Lone Star Sword is in my hands. If you're capable, come and get it yourself." Lin Xian held the Lone Star Sword in his hand. His body also emitted a sharp sword light that swept through the 9 heavens like a cold wind. The 2 streaks of sword chi collided. The entire void crackled as if it could not withstand the force and would crack open at any time. In the next instant, both of them slashed out with their swords. Terrifying sword chi surged and finally collided with a dazzling light. Then Hong Wuji's sword chi shattered. Could not resist at all. "Damn it." Hong Wuji's eyes narrowed as his face darkened. He waved his arm and quickly slashed out several streaks of sword chi. They connected to form a sword net and barely blocked the other party's sword chi. "You dare to be arrogant with such little ability?" Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. "Humph, don't be so smug. You're just taking advantage of the Lone Star Sword's light." Hong Wuji's voice was cold. "Without the Lone Star Sword, you're nothing." Behind him, the 6 maidservants were also mocking him. "It's just a half-Earth-class treasure. Anyone who gets it will have unparalleled combat strength. If my young master gets the Lone Star Sword, he can kill you with one slash." Hong Wuji said in a low voice, "Kid, do you dare to fight without the Lone Star Sword? If I lose, I'll turn around and leave immediately. I'll never think about the Lone Star Sword again. If you lose, you have to give the Lone Star Sword to me. How about it?" Hearing this, everyone was shocked. It seemed that Hong Wuji could not defeat Lin Xian, who had the Lone Star Sword. That was why he came up with this move. However, they were also looking forward to seeing who would be stronger without the half-Earth-class treasure. They knew that it was impossible. Lin Xian had the absolute advantage. How could he give up? Coward. He definitely won't dare to give up the Lone Star Sword to fight with my young master. Of course. Without the Lone Star Sword, he's just a piece of trash. How can he defeat our young master? The 6 maidservants mocked coldly. Hearing this, Lin Xian smiled. "No need to provoke me. Since you want to fight, I'll do as you wish." Then he put the Lone Star Sword back into the scabbard on his back. He tapped his storage ring, and the Wind Shadow Sword appeared in his hand. What? Lin Xian really gave up the Lone Star Sword. Everyone was shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian to really agree to Hong Wuji's request. Isn't this guy a little too confident? Not necessarily. Even without the Lone Star Sword, Lin Xian is still very powerful. Don't forget that he has killed many second-level venerables before. Everyone had different opinions and quickly discussed. Upon seeing this, Hong Wuji burst out laughing. "Well done, kid, you are indeed courageous. However, without the Lone Star Sword, you'll definitely lose." He let out a long roar, and the sword light on his body shone brightly. Sword chi flickered and surged out like a torrential flood. Chapter 843. Lin Xian looked calm as he waved his long sword. Streaks of fiery red sword chi surged out and turned into 3 golden crows that flew quickly. Flames surrounded the golden crows, and the terrifying heat distorted the void. The 3 golden crows streaked across the sky and rushed toward each other. Before the sword chi arrived, the terrifying heat had already evaporated the river. Rumble. The 2 swords clashed and the entire sky trembled. Countless streaks of sword chi swept across the sky and wreaked havoc. Hong Wuji's sword chi was of the water attribute, while Lin Xian's sword chi was of the fire attribute. As the two opposing forces clashed, an intense confrontation took place. It was a competition of strength. Whoever was stronger would be able to suppress the other. The flood surged into the sky and the flames surged. The two forces shone brightly and devoured each other. The crowd was terrified. Such a battle was too terrifying. Even a second-layer honorable realm cultivator would be killed and turned into a bloody mist. As expected of a battle between geniuses. Although the two of them were young, their combat strength had already surpassed countless seniors. Boom. The three golden crows shone brightly like three suns and evaporated the river. Then they flapped their wings and shattered the terrifying sword chi. Hong Wuji frowned and took a step back. How is this possible? His face turned ugly. His opponent's sword technique had surpassed his. Now that Lin Xian had put away his Lone Star sword and was using a sword of the same grade as his, which meant that there was no external enhancement. However, he still could not withstand Lin Xian's sword chi. What did this mean? This meant that he could not defeat Lin Xian. At the thought of this, his face turned ugly. He let out a long roar, and the 6 swords behind him rushed out and floated around him. Behind him, the void floated and a huge maple tree appeared. Its branches swayed like arms and grabbed the 6 swords. Kid, let's decide this in one move. Hong Wuji was furious. He summoned his martial soul and was ready to attack with all his might. If he could not defeat Lin Xian, he would lose face. The martial soul of the maple tree was like a tree man. It held the 6 swords and waved them quickly. Streaks of dazzling sword chi swept in all directions, forming a sword curtain that shrouded Lin Xian. Brat, release your martial spirit or die. I don't need to summon my martial spirit to deal with you. Lin Xian coldly snorted as he pushed the great dragon sword spirit with all his might. A terrifying sword chi surrounded his body. You're courting death. Hong Wuji sneered. He had already unleashed his full power. His power could even threaten a third heaven-venerated realm cultivator, but his opponent still hadn't summoned his martial soul. This was obviously an act of overconfidence and courting death. Since that was the case, he would make use of this opportunity to kill the other party and obtain the Lone Star sword. As he thought of this, Hong Wuji tried even harder to activate his martial soul. Boundless sword chi joined together as a terrifying sword radiance lingered in the void, covering the heavens and the earth. He dares to be arrogant in front of my young master? That brat is dead meat. That's right. At this juncture, he still hasn't summoned his martial spirit. What an idiot. It's better for him to die. He doesn't deserve the Lone Star sword. The 6 maids of Red Leaves Valley sneered. The surrounding martial artists were also shocked. They couldn't understand where Lin Xian's confidence came from. How dare he not summon his martial spirit? Lin Xian's gaze was resolute as his black hair fluttered in the wind. Sword radiance flickered in his eyes as he roared and slashed out with his sword. Although he didn't summon the Great Dragon Sword Spirit, the sword contained the power of the Great Dragon Sword Spirit and was extremely sharp. Blood-colored sword chi surrounded the sword and formed a blood dragon. It roared ferociously as it charged forward. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out as the heavens and the earth lost its color. In the next instant, the sword screen formed by the 6 sword chi collided with the blood dragon. Boom! In an instant, the sword screen shattered and the blood dragon roared as it charged out. How is this possible? This is impossible. Hong Wuji retreated with a face full of shock as he spat out blood. He didn't expect his opponent to be able to break through his attack. What was worse was that his opponent didn't summon his martial spirit. This meant that the difference in strength between the two of them was extremely large. Otherwise, such a situation wouldn't have happened. Damn it! I don't believe it. Hong Wuji roared into the sky, his eyes filled with indignation. He was powerful and arrogant. He had never taken anyone of the same age as him seriously. When he fought with Lin Xian previously, he thought that Lin Xian was only able to contend with him because of the Lone Star sword. But now Lin Xian had put away the Lone Star sword and was able to suppress him with his own strength. This meant that Lin Xian's strength was above his. But he couldn't accept it. When he thought of what he had said previously, Hong Wuji felt his face burning. A slap in the face. This was a slap in the face. The 6 maidservants were also stunned. Their faces turned pale as they stood rooted to the ground. Their young master had actually been defeated, and he had been utterly defeated. The 6 maidservants couldn't believe it. Lin Xian was too powerful. He was definitely one of the top geniuses of the younger generation. The crowd exclaimed. It was as if they had witnessed the rise of a peerless genius. Impossible. Go to hell. Hong Wuji's hair was disheveled and he was in a sorry state. A ruthless look appeared in his eyes as he waved his sleeves and shot out 3 rays of scarlet light. They were 3 maple leaves that were as thin as cicadas' wings. They were scarlet and contained terrifying power. Oh no, that was a forbidden weapon. If it exploded, it could kill a third heaven honorable. Someone exclaimed and quickly fled. When the news spread, the entire sky was in chaos. Countless martial artists fled into the distance like locusts. The 3 maple leaves were like the hidden weapons of the Grim Reaper as they shot towards Lin Xian. Go to hell. Hong Wuji's face was hideous. He couldn't accept that someone was stronger than him. On the other hand, Lin Xian's face was gloomy. His opponent was so vicious that he wanted to kill him. Since that was the case, he wouldn't hold back. Lin Xian's body swayed. He used his Earth-class movement technique, illusory demon steps. His speed was so fast that even a third heaven honorable couldn't catch up with him. His body flashed like a bolt of lightning and instantly dodged the attack range of the 3 forbidden weapons. Then he slashed out one of them. The blood-red sword light turned into a dragon and rushed towards Hong Wuji. Hong Wuji's face changed drastically as he screamed in horror. Fear appeared in his eyes. This was the feeling of death. He had never experienced such a feeling before, but now he finally knew what fear was and what fear was. The young man in front of him was too terrifying. He was like his nemesis. Not only did he dodge the attack of the 3 forbidden weapons, but he also had the ability to kill him. No. I don't want to die. Hong Wuji tried his best to resist, but he couldn't withstand Lin Xian's sword chi. He could only let out a sorrowful cry and turn around to escape. In the next moment, the terrifying sword light had already enveloped him. Young master. The 6 maidservants screamed. They couldn't imagine how furious Red Leaf Valley would be if Hong Wuji died. Clang. Chapter 844. What? He was saved? Everyone was shocked. They thought that Hong Wuji was dead for sure, but they didn't expect a mysterious person to save him at the last moment. Lin Xian was also surprised. He squinted his eyes and looked at the sky. However, he didn't care. So what if Hong Wuji survived? He wasn't his match anyway. However, the mysterious person who saved him at the last moment did make him wary. He seemed to be at least a 3rd level venerable. Hong Wuji went from being arrogant to being defeated in a short period of time. The whole process happened very quickly. The proud son of heaven who had been the focus of everyone's attention had been defeated in an instant. Moreover, he had been defeated by Lin Xian. Suddenly the scene became silent. Countless warriors looked at Lin Xian, their bodies trembling. At this moment, Lin Xian also received a message from Yu Fei. Brother Xian, we found the whereabouts of the Phoenix Blood Scarlet Gold. It was auctioned off by the Huang family's great elder. Moreover, I heard that the Huang family's great elder wants to use this Phoenix Blood Scarlet Gold to create a special inner armor. He hasn't found a blacksmith yet, so he won't make a move for the time being. Huang family. Lin Xian frowned and stared at the side of the sky. That was where the Huang family's forces were located. However, it wasn't convenient for him to make a move now. It seemed that he could only think of a way. However, he was relieved that the other party wouldn't use this precious metal for the time being. Since the whereabouts of the Phoenix Blood Scarlet Gold were known, Lin Xian had no reason to stay. He had to return to the academy to prepare and come back to snatch the Phoenix Blood Scarlet Gold. Anyway, he had a grudge with the Huang family, so he didn't need to explain anything. Lin Xian turned into a shooting star and moved quickly. He wanted to leave the Windy City. Seeing Lin Xian move, the surrounding people panicked. Although they were shocked by Lin Xian's strength, it didn't mean that they wanted to let Lin Xian leave. This was especially true for the people from the Giant Axe Formation. Each and every one of them was glaring angrily. Crazy Warrior also roared and quickly condensed a 100-meter-tall golden giant. He waved his hand and grabbed forward. However, they had all underestimated Lin Xian's movement technique. His speed was even faster than that of a 3rd Heaven Venerable Realm cultivator, so all of their attacks missed their target. As for Lin Xian, he turned into a sword light and quickly left the Seeking Wind City. Boom. In the blink of an eye, the defensive array set up by the various forces in Wenfeng City was broken. Lin Xian's figure flickered and disappeared into the horizon. After leaving Wenfeng City, Lin Xian summoned the golden feather divine eagle and let it fly while he sat cross-legged on its back and quickly recovered his strength. 2 hours later, he opened his eyes and adjusted his body to its peak state. At this moment, the dark red dragon swam out and said to Lin Xian, "Kid, let me take a look at the Lone Star Sword. Let me see if I can find out the secrets within." Lin Xian nodded and pulled out the Lone Star Sword from his back and handed it to the dark red dragon. Before this he had never doubted the Lone Star Sword. However, the Vientiane auction's actions were too strange. Everything showed that the Lone Star Sword was not as simple as it seemed. Therefore, the dark red dragon wanted to investigate it. With his eyesight he should be able to find something strange. The dark red dragon stretched out his dragon claw and knocked on the Lone Star Sword to study it carefully. Suddenly he raised his dragon claw and his body trembled. He exclaimed in a low voice, "No way." "What did you find?" Lin Xian asked. Looking at the dark red dragon's expression, he could not help but feel nervous. This doesn't seem to be a half-Earth rank artifact. The dark red dragon took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. Not a half-Earth rank artifact? Then what is it? Lin Xian's face fell. Don't tell me it's just an ordinary spiritual artifact. Then my 1 billion spiritual stones would be wasted. What do you know? The dark red dragon rolled his eyes angrily and snorted. To be exact, this is not just a half-Earth rank artifact. Its value is 10 times higher than an ordinary half-Earth rank artifact. Higher than a half-Earth rank artifact? What is that? Lin Xian was shocked. He could not think of anything in this world that was so precious. Could it be an Earth rank artifact? If there was anything more precious than a half-Earth rank artifact, it would be an Earth rank artifact. However, an Earth rank artifact was extremely rare and powerful. Every Earth rank artifact had a mysterious power. This Lone Star Sword did not seem like one. What you said is close but not completely correct. This Lone Star Sword is indeed a fragment of an Earth rank artifact. Fragment? Lin Xian was puzzled. Yes, a fragment. Most of the Earth rank artifacts in this world have disappeared. Only fragments are scattered in the world. This Lone Star Sword is made from the fragments of an Earth rank treasure. Its power definitely surpasses that of an ordinary half-Earth rank artifact. It can even be said to be priceless. The dark red dragon continued to explain, "Don't underestimate this fragment. It contains a mysterious power that countless martial artists want to obtain. I'm afraid that even King's laws would be tempted. After all, although it is a fragment, it still contains the law inscriptions of an Earth rank artifact. That is the most precious item." Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. He was so shocked that he could not speak. He did not expect an Earth rank artifact fragment to be so precious. Moreover, he had such an item. No wonder the Wanxiang auction house went back on their word and mercilessly attacked. They wanted more Lone Star Swords. They must have discovered the secret of the Lone Star Sword. In the absence of an Earth rank artifact, this item was the best item in the world. Kid, you have two choices now. The first is to quickly throw away the Lone Star Sword and leave this place. Otherwise, you might be hunted down by all the martial artists in the world. The second is to leave the Lone Star Sword behind and fully comprehend the Earth rank artifact fragment inside. However, you will become the enemy of all the martial artists in the world. You better think carefully, the dark red divine dragon said in a deep voice. Lin Xian's expression was also solemn. He knew that the Lone Star Sword was a hot potato. Although the public did not know about it yet, he could not guarantee that the Wanxiang auction house would not spread the news. If the news that the Lone Star Sword was an Earth rank artifact fragment got out, then he would become the enemy of the entire world. However, he was also very excited. An Earth rank artifact fragment was a legendary item. He did not expect that he would be so close to it for the first time. There is no need to think about it. I will not hand over the Lone Star Sword. Lin Xian's voice was firm. So what if I become the enemy of the entire world? His eyes shone with confidence and an unyielding gaze. The Lone Star Sword was very important. Not only was it powerful, but it also contained an Earth rank artifact fragment. This was what he needed the most. He wanted to reach the pinnacle of martial arts. He had to grasp these items in his hands. Even if he had to become the enemy of the entire world, he would not hesitate. Moreover, as a martial artist, why would he be afraid of a battle? Although he felt an infinite amount of pressure, Lin Xian realized that the blood in his body was gradually boiling. Good kid, I was right about you. The dark red divine dragon was very satisfied with Lin Xian's answer. Let's go. Chapter 845. In the blink of an eye, it had been 3 days since Lin Xian left the Windy City. In these 3 days, various forces were frantically searching for Lin Xian, but to no avail. Many people were in despair. Were they destined to miss out on a treasure like a half-Earth rank artifact? Moreover, what made them even more regretful was that they still didn't know which force Lin Xian belonged to. The Wanxiang auction house was infuriated when they heard that Lin Xian had left. Although they were the overlords of the Windy City, they were powerless outside the city. After all, the Blood Realm was huge and there were countless forces. It wasn't something that the Wanxiang auction house could control. However, even if they couldn't do it, the forces behind them could. Sheng Guanxian didn't hesitate and quickly reported to her superiors for help. She reported to her superiors and tried their best to track down Lin Xian. Soon they received the report. Sheng Guanxian carefully read the jade slip in her hand. Then her pupils constricted and she was shocked. Immortal Martial Academy. She took a deep breath and her expression was solemn. She didn't expect Lin Xian to be a disciple of the Immortal Martial Academy. The Immortal Martial Academy was very famous in the Blood Realm. If Lin Xian hid in the academy and didn't come out, it would be difficult for them to make a move. There were many disciples of the Yen clan in the Immortal Martial Academy. Why not let them scout the area first? Sheng Guanxian made a decision and quickly gave the order. At the same time, she waited for the experts sent by her superiors to capture Lin Xian. The Immortal Martial Academy was filled with spiritual energy. It was like a paradise. After a few days of rushing, Lin Xian finally returned. Brother Xian. Wang Li and the other members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion shouted excitedly when they saw Lin Xian return safely. Lin Xian met with these people for half a day before returning to his courtyard to cultivate in seclusion. The main reason for his seclusion was to study the Lone Star Sword in detail. However, after studying it for a day, he realized that he couldn't sense the Earth-rank weapon fragment in the Lone Star Sword. Boy, although you're very powerful right now, your cultivation is too low. If you want to sense the fragment, you must at least possess the strength of the third heavenly layer of Exalted. However, if you insist on wearing it, you might be able to sense it in advance. Wear it on my body? The corners of Lin Xian's mouth twitched when he heard this. This was a half-Earth-rank treasured artifact. Moreover, it contained the secret of an Earth-rank fragment. Now that he was asked to wear it, it was undoubtedly an action that deserved a beating. However, in order to be able to sense the Earth-grade weapon fragment as soon as possible, Lin Xian endured. Fine, I'll wear it. Lin Xian sheathed the Lone Star Sword on his back. He decided that he would not take it off no matter what. He put down the Lone Star Sword. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He sorted out the things he had obtained recently. Other than the Lone Star Sword, his greatest gain was the Lone Star Sword. It was the Blood Sword inheritance that had reached the 3rd level, and he had comprehended a clone technique. Other than that, he had also obtained a few storage rings. It was not a small gain. As for his cultivation, it had reached the peak of the 1st level of the Honorable Realm. It would not be long before he broke through to the 2nd level of the Honorable Realm. At that time, his strength would increase greatly. After doing all this, Lin Xian pushed open the door and walked out of the courtyard. You're back. I heard that your gains this time were not small. A delicate voice sounded. Murong Qingqing was standing not far away looking at him with a smile. I heard that you obtained a half-Earth-rank treasured artifact? Murong Qingqing tilted her head and looked at Lin Xian. Soon she noticed the blue ancient sword on Lin Xian's back. You're so ostentatious. You're carrying a half-Earth-rank treasured artifact on your back just like that? Murong Qingqing was speechless. This action seemed to be asking for a beating. Although I don't know what you've experienced outside, there are countless monsters in this academy. If one of them sees it and snatches it away, I'm afraid you won't even have a place to cry. Lin Xian was speechless and he scratched his head. He did not want to be so ostentatious, but in order to sense the Earth-rank fragment earlier, he had no choice but to do so. Why don't I cover it with a cloth? Forget it. That's even more annoying. Murong Qingqing covered her mouth and laughed. Then forget it. That's it. Lin Xian shrugged. Anyway, it's mine. If anyone wants to take it, I don't mind teaching them a lesson. Moreover, it's not the first time I've become a public enemy. Back then, when I was with you, didn't I also become a public enemy? Aren't I still living well? Bah, who's with you? Murong Qingqing blushed and rolled her eyes at Lin Xian. Oh, I must have remembered wrongly. Lin Xian chuckled dryly and walked forward. You're really asking for a beating. Murong Qingqing followed behind him and said softly, You have to be careful. I heard that Yen Qingfeng is back. Yen Qingfeng. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Hearing this name, he should be Yen Qingyang's brother. He naturally would not forget about the grudge between him and Dao Ling Association. It would not take long for them to come knocking on his door. Sigh, how troublesome. Lin Xian was helpless. He realized that the Yen clan was like an annoying fly that kept circling around him. However, if they dared to come looking for trouble, he would let them know the power of the Lone Star Sword. Lin Xian touched the ancient sword on his back as a cold smile appeared on his face. Not long after, the news of Lin Xian's return to the college spread. Along with it was the news of the half-Earth rank artifact. After all, Lin Xian had caused such a huge commotion in Windy City. It was impossible to hide it. What did you say? Lin Xian obtained a half-Earth rank artifact. Heavens, how did he get such a rare treasure? What? He spent 1 billion spirit stones to buy it? And he fought the entire Windy City? For a time, Lin Xian and the half-Earth rank artifact, the Lone Star Sword, became the topic of discussion. Countless people were envious and wished that they could capture Lin Xian and ask him. There were even many people who had designs on the Lone Star Sword. Such a treasure was something that any martial artist would be moved by. Immortal Martial Academy, Dao Ling Association. Yan Qingyang's injuries had already healed. When he heard the news reported by his subordinate, his face was incomparably gloomy. Lin Xian, this guy, actually hit the jackpot and obtained a half-Earth rank artifact. Damn it. Yan Qingyang's eyes were filled with rage. That originally handsome face of his was now distorted beyond recognition. Jealousy, he was going crazy from jealousy. What capabilities did Lin Xian have to actually have so many good things? First, it was Murong Qingqing who was favored by the heavens. Then he obtained a half-Earth rank artifact. Every matter caused countless people to be incomparably jealous. Yan Qingyang gritted his teeth and roared in his heart. He felt that all these good things should be his. Not long after, when he heard some other news, he was so angry that he started to tremble. This was the news that came from his clan during the break. It was about the Yen clan's disciples being killed in Windy City. Among them was a group of Yen clan's elites who were annihilated in Windy City for killing Lin Xian. Chapter 846. Brother, kill him. You must kill this brat. Avenge our Yen clan. Yan Qingyang's eyes were red as he stared at a figure in front of him. It was also a young man with a tall and sturdy figure and a handsome face. At this moment he stood with his hands clasped behind his back. His expression was cold and his body emitted a biting cold killing intent. He nodded slightly and coldly said, Lin Xian, Lone Star Sword. I will let you know that there are some people you can't touch and some things you can't take. This person was Yan Qingyang's brother, Yan Qingfeng. He had received orders from his clan to kill Lin Xian and seize the Lone Star Sword. Let me see what capabilities you have to be able to cause such a huge commotion. He coldly snorted and walked outside. Immortal Martial Academy, Mid-Grade Spirit Gathering Tower. Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing walked side by side near the Mid-Grade Spirit Gathering Tower and instantly attracted the attention of countless cultivators. Their interest wasn't Lin Xian but the ancient blue sword on his back. Is that the Lone Star Sword? I can feel the cold aura from it even from so far away. This guy is too arrogant. He actually dares to carry a half-Earth tier treasure on his back. Someone coldly snorted. His eyes were red with jealousy. With a beauty by his side and a treasured sword by his side, Lin Xian had undoubtedly become the public enemy of the Immortal Martial Academy. Pairs of rabbit-like eyes stared at Lin Xian with unfriendly expressions. However, no one dared to make a move. They had heard of the incident in Wind-Seeking City. Although they didn't see it, they felt that it was terrifying just by hearing about it. To be able to bring back the Lone Star Sword safely from so many powers in Wind-Seeking City, it was enough to show how powerful Lin Xian was. Lin Xian naturally saw the surrounding people as well. However, he didn't care. These people were just talking and didn't dare to make a move. However, at the next moment, the crowd was in an uproar as if they had discovered something shocking. They dispersed like the tide. Lin Xian frowned slightly and turned his head to look. He saw the crowd disperse and a group of people walk out from the gap. The person in the lead was a handsome young man with a stalwart figure. His gaze was steady and his footwork was steady. Although he did not deliberately release his aura, it carried a powerful aura, causing the surrounding people to quietly shut their mouths. Seeing those people, Lin Xian's frown deepened. Although he didn't recognize the burly youth at the front, he did recognize the disciple beside him. Yan Qingyang. Lin Xian smiled when he saw the other party's ferocious expression. Needless to say, these people were all from the Tao Spirit Association, and the tall and sturdy young man at the front should be the legendary president of the Tao Spirit Association, Yan Qingfeng. The surrounding martial artists also took a deep breath, their expressions becoming extremely rich. Yan Qingfeng, I didn't expect him to come back. Everyone was shocked and their eyes burned with passion. These people naturally wouldn't forget the battle between Lin Xian and Dao Ling Association. Back then, when Yan Qingyang provoked him, he was severely injured. When Yan Qingfeng returns this time, he definitely won't let Lin Xian off. Lin Xian is dead for sure this time. Although he was powerful, Yan Qingfeng was a third-level honorable. The difference in level and realm could crush him to death. Yeah, maybe he won't be able to keep the Lone Star Sword then. If that's the case, it'll be interesting. I really want to see what kind of expression Lin Xian will have when he's defeated. Yeah, this guy is too arrogant. He's running around with the Lone Star Sword. Does he really think that no one can stop him? These people were jealous of Lin Xian, so their words were filled with sarcasm and jealousy. Yan Qingyang smiled maliciously and looked at Lin Xian with a strong provocation in his eyes. However, Lin Xian ignored him. Instead, he looked at Yan Qingfeng, who was at the front. This scene stunned Yan Qingyang. Then his face turned ugly. How dare Lin Xian ignore him? That's too despicable. I'll let you be smug for a little longer. When my brother makes his move, you'll know what it means to live a life worse than death. Yan Qingyang snorted in his heart. He knew that as long as his brother made his move, Lin Xian would definitely not be able to withstand it. By then, he would humiliate Lin Xian properly and return all the anger he had suffered previously. You're Lin Xian? At this moment, Yan Qingfeng's eyes flickered and he asked coldly. Who are you? Are you that trash's brother? Lin Xian said casually. During this process, he casually glanced at Yan Qingyang. The disdain in his eyes was self-evident. You. Yan Qingyang was so angry that he vomited blood again. He gritted his teeth and growled, Fuck, I'll bear with this. I'll pay you back 100-fold later. Looks like you know who I am. In that case, I don't have to introduce myself. Yan Qingfeng's voice was cold. He looked at the Lone Star Sword on Lin Xian's back with a burning gaze. I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself. Kneel down and destroy your own cultivation. Hand over the Lone Star Sword obediently and I'll give you a chance to live. The Yan family is really arrogant. Lin Xian sneered. Unfortunately, you're not the first to say that. In Wind-Seeking City, 3 disciples of the Yan family once said the same thing to me. In the end, they all died. Later on, there was an elite team of the Yan family led by a guardian elder. They also said the same thing to me, but they all died. I advise you to take back your words. Otherwise you'll end up like them. What? The crowd was shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian to have already fought with the Yan family. By the sound of it, he had killed many Yan family martial artists. If that was true, Lin Xian was too scary. On the opposite side, Yan Qingfeng's face darkened. His eyes flickered and his killing intent quickly gathered. Since you know the crime you've committed, that's great. Since you've done something, you must pay the price. And the price you have to pay is your life. His voice was cold and the sound waves turned into sharp swords. It was as if the swords were going to pierce through Lin Xian. So arrogant, so domineering. Lin Xian sneered, but let me tell you, the people I killed all deserve to die. I killed the Yan family because they deserved to die. Those people were all greedy. They wanted to kill me and steal my Lone Star Sword. If they weren't greedy and didn't provoke me, they wouldn't have been killed. Therefore, their deaths were entirely their own fault. As for you, if you're stubborn and want to steal the Lone Star Sword, you'll end up like them. What a sharp tongue. No matter what you say, you can't escape death. Yan Qingfeng's expression was cold. You're wrong. I'm just stating the truth. Since you want to fight, come at me. Lin Xian's eyes focused. The aura on his body kept rising. He was like a peerless divine sword that was recovering quickly. Of course I'll fight. Yan Qingfeng said coldly, but not today. Chapter 847. Life and Death Ring. Everyone was shocked and their eyelids twitched. It seemed like Yan Qingfeng was determined to kill Lin Xian. Otherwise, he wouldn't have invited Lin Xian to the Life and Death Ring. The Celestial Martial Arts Academy forbade students from killing each other. For example, in the battle between Lin Xian and Yan Qingyang, Lin Xian merely injured his opponent and did not kill him. Therefore, if they were to fight now, Yan Qingyang could only defeat Lin Xian but not kill him. However, the Life and Death Ring was different. It was a place the academy set aside for students to settle their disputes. Fights and conflicts were common between martial artists. Especially these geniuses, they were arrogant and did not want to admit defeat. If a martial artist in the academy reached the stage where they would fight to the death, they could apply for the Life and Death Ring to fight to the death. Now Yan Qingfeng had invited Lin Xian to the Life and Death Ring. Life and Death Ring. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes when he heard that. He had heard of the Life and Death Ring and knew the rules of the Life and Death Ring. Once they entered the Life and Death Ring, only one of them could survive. It seemed like Yan Qingfeng was determined to kill him. However, this was good too. The grudge between him and the Yan clan was irreconcilable. Instead of leaving a scourge in the future, he might as well get rid of this genius now. Moreover, Yan Qingfeng was ranked 30th on the Mystic Venerable leaderboard. If he could defeat Yan Qingfeng, Lin Xian's ranking would jump from 70th to 30th. No matter how one looked at it, Lin Xian would benefit greatly. Therefore he had no reason to reject Yan Qingfeng. 10 days later, the Life and Death Ring will be as you wish. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous and his gaze was resolute. The crowd was shocked and many of them exclaimed. They did not expect Lin Xian to accept the Life and Death Ring. Did he not know Yan Qingfeng's strength? One should know that Yan Qingfeng was a third-level honorable. Moreover, he was not an ordinary third-level honorable. He was a genius and a senior in the Celestial Martial Arts Academy. He definitely had many trump cards in his hands. Such a person far surpassed those of the same level. Although Lin Xian was strong and could battle across realms, he could at most kill a second heaven venerable realm cultivator. Against a prodigy like Yan Qingfeng, he was not enough. In fact, it was very likely that he would be killed instantly. Yan Qingfeng smiled cruelly when he heard Lin Xian's reply. I advise you to enjoy your last moments because in 10 days, I will definitely cut you down with my blade. He sneered, turned around and left with the people of Dao Ling Association. Yan Qingyang looked at Lin Xian, his eyes full of mockery and disdain. Lin Xian actually dared to engage in a death match with his brother. He was really courting death. He couldn't wait to enjoy the scene of Lin Xian being killed 10 days later. Thinking of this, Yan Qingyang felt a twisted sense of pleasure. Are you confident? Murong Qingqing asked from the side. I'm not very confident, only about 30 to 40%. Lin Xian said, he knows that Yan Qingfeng is definitely a very difficult opponent, so he wasn't arrogant. Only 30 to 40%? Murong Qingqing opened her eyes wide and complained, you actually dared to accept a death match with such a low success rate. I really don't know what you're thinking. Don't worry, aren't there still 10 days? Lin Xian comforted with a smile. If I can break through to the second heaven venerable realm within 10 days, then my chances of winning will greatly increase. By then there might be a miracle. Breakthrough? Murong Qingqing rolled her eyes at him. Seems like you've already thought about it. Why didn't you say so earlier? You made me worry for nothing. Oh, were you worried about me just now? Lin Xian suddenly smiled. To be able to get your concern, I have no regrets even if I die. He laughed and turned to walk toward the middle-level spirit gathering array. Who cares about you? Murong Qingqing blushed and stomped her feet in anger. It could be said that it was very urgent to break through to the second heaven venerable realm in 10 days, but Lin Xian had such confidence. The battle in Wind-Seeking City a few days ago had benefited him greatly. His spiritual energy value had already reached the peak of the first heaven venerable realm. As long as he was guided, he would be able to smoothly break through to the second heaven venerable realm. This was the benefit of fighting, and this was also why countless warriors wanted to fight with their lives on the line. In battle, they could improve their skills and strengthen their martial skills. If they were lucky, they could even break through directly. And Lin Xian was fighting with the top experts. Every battle was very exciting and intense, so the speed of his breakthrough was far beyond his peers. 5 days later, Lin Xian successfully broke through, and the spiritual energy in his body almost doubled. Not only that, he felt that his relationship with the great dragon sword soul had become even closer. The kind of easy control made him unable to stop. It had to be said that the increase of his cultivation was extremely beneficial to him. Lin Xian estimated that his current strength had doubled compared to before. Now Lin Xian was confident that he could easily defeat Shangguanxian, Guangzhan, and the others. With his current strength, there was no pressure to fight against an ordinary third heaven venerable realm. Even if he was to fight against a genius like Yan Qingfeng, he was confident that he could win. Therefore Lin Xian was not worried about the battle 5 days later. In the following days, Lin Xian began to consolidate his cultivation and comprehend other martial arts. Soon 10 days had passed, and the entire Immortal Martial Academy was in a frenzy of excitement. That was because today was the battle between Yan Qingfeng and Lin Xian. This was not an ordinary battle. First of all, both of them were experts on the Mystic Venerable list. Between them, Yan Qingfeng was more eye-catching. As a third heaven venerable and a genius martial artist ranked 30th on the Mystic Venerable Society, he was very dazzling. Moreover, the battle between the two of them was not an ordinary battle, but a battle of life and death. This kind of battle was extremely intense and it would only end when one side died. There were very few such battles in the Immortal Martial Academy in recent years, which was why everyone was so excited. Moreover, Lin Xian had a half-earth tier treasure in his hands, which was also one of the reasons why everyone was looking forward to the battle. One had to know that although everyone did not think highly of Lin Xian, if he used the Lone Star Sword, he might be able to fight against Yan Qingfeng. However, it was almost impossible for him to turn the tables around. At most, it would allow Lin Xian to hold on for a little longer. This analysis was made by the experts of the academy. In their opinion, this was already very impressive. According to their estimation, if Lin Xian did not use the Lone Star Sword, he probably would not even be able to block a single attack. On this day the weather was clear and there was a gentle breeze. In the Immortal Martial Academy, countless disciples were running in the same direction. Everyone had an excited expression on their faces. At this moment, in a corner of the Immortal Martial Academy, there was a huge arena. This arena was very old and it was filled with an ancient aura. It was an ancient arena. Chapter 848. At this moment, the surroundings of the Life and Death Ring were filled with people. These people were all students of the Celestial Martial Arts Academy. There were even a few elders and deacons who came to watch the battle. Of course, they weren't just here to watch the battle. They had another purpose, which was to activate the Life and Death Ring. Not long after, a group of people walked over from afar. They were from the Tao Spirit Association. The person in the lead was dressed in a white robe. He had a handsome face and a burly figure. He was like a young god of war with a powerful aura. Yan Qingfeng. When the crowd saw the white-robed figure, they instantly exclaimed. The person who came was Yan Qingfeng. Behind him were Yan Qingyang and the rest from the Tao Spirit Association. Yan Qingfeng brought the crowd to the Life and Death Ring. He bowed slightly to the elders. Then he took a step forward and like a flash of lightning, he directly arrived at the ring. He stood with his hands behind his back like a javelin. He closed his eyes and waited quietly. Other than the elders of the academy, Yan Qingfeng didn't care about anyone else. He only had one goal today, which was to kill Lin Xian. The crowd was shocked and whispered to each other. Yan Qingfeng was too confident. He didn't care about this battle at all. Actually, this was very normal. Yan Qingfeng's cultivation was at the third heaven of the Honorable Realm. Moreover, he was a top expert who was ranked 30th on the Mystic Honorable Leaderboard. Other than those who were ranked above him, he didn't care about the others at all. Even those who were ranked higher than him wouldn't be willing to fight with him unless they had no other choice. After all, when one's cultivation reached such a level, one would definitely have some trump cards. Those things were very deadly. Not long after Yan Qingfeng's arrival, many other martial artists walked over. Among them, a few were very eye-catching. One of them was a young man in a purple robe. This young man's face was fair as if he hadn't seen the sun for a long time. What was even more strange was that his eyes were purple. As his eyes moved, there was a demonic aura. Behind him was a group of martial artists with powerful auras. Yi Yan. Seeing the purple figure, the crowd's heart trembled. Their eyes were filled with shock. It was because the aura that this young man in a purple robe gave out wasn't any weaker than Yan Qingfeng's. In fact, he was even stronger. Yi Yan was also a third heaven of the Honorable Realm. He was ranked 25th on the Mystic Honorable Leaderboard. At the same time, he was also the leader of the Purple Robe Pavilion. Regardless of cultivation or power, he was above Yan Qingfeng. Who would have thought that Yan Qingfeng's battle to the death would actually draw him here? Everyone exclaimed. At the same time that Yi Yan arrived on the other side, a group of people were also rushing over. These people were dressed in blue and had the same pattern drawn on their bodies. It was an ice flower. The ice flower was blue and lifelike, emitting a cold aura. The leader of this group of people was a young girl wearing a blue dress. The young girl was beautiful and her eyes were clear, but her body carried a bone-piercing chill. Following their arrival, the temperature of the entire space continued to drop, as if it had fallen into winter. Snow Lady. Everyone exclaimed again as they circulated their spiritual energy to resist the chill. Snow Lady, an ice-based warrior. She was extremely powerful and ranked 17th on the Mystic Sovereign Leaderboard. Her eyes were cold as she scanned the surroundings. Then, she found a place and quietly waited for the battle to begin. Other than that, another group of people had arrived. There were only 7 or 8 people in this group. However, no one dared to underestimate them because these people were too powerful. Each of them emitted a powerful aura that connected together. It was terrifying. The Gathering of Heroes was a very special organization. They had very few people, but every one of them was a powerhouse and could not be underestimated. The arrival of this group of people caused the entire space to fall into an extremely oppressive atmosphere. It could not be helped. These people's auras were too powerful. Although they did not deliberately release their auras, it was not something that ordinary warriors could withstand. One of them had an ordinary appearance, but his eyes were unusually sharp, like a demonic beast. It made one's heart tremble. Lone Wolf ranked 33rd on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard. His fighting style was extremely cruel and few people dared to provoke him. The arrival of Lone Wolf and the others caused Yen Qingfeng to open his eyes. He nodded slightly at Lone Wolf and the others as a form of greeting. Lone Wolf also grinned. Then he looked around and scanned the surroundings. In the next moment, his face darkened. Humph! This Lin Xian is really arrogant. He actually made so many of us wait for him. Lone Wolf's voice was cold and his tone was filled with dissatisfaction. The crowd was silent and did not dare to speak. It was obvious that Lone Wolf and Yen Qingfeng were in cahoots. At that moment they were obviously targeting Lin Xian. I came late because I wanted to give some people more time to live. Since you don't appreciate my kindness, then forget it. A faint voice was heard and lingered in the surroundings. It was clearly heard. Humph! How arrogant! Lone Wolf frowned and snorted coldly. On the fighting ring, Yen Qingfeng suddenly opened his eyes and looked forward. His gaze was like a sharp sword that pierced through the void. The surrounding warriors were also shocked. They knew that Lin Xian had arrived. The crowd turned around and saw a group of warriors walking over from behind. The person at the front was Lin Xian. Today Lin Xian wore a black shirt that fit him perfectly. He carried the Lone Star sword on his back. His expression was calm and his footwork was steady. He was like a sword immortal, calm and confident. That aura was very special, making people feel that it was very profound. Beside him was Murong Qingqing, who was dressed in white. Her face was unparalleled and her temperament was extraordinary. She was like a fairy. Behind Lin Xian there were hundreds of warriors. These people were naturally members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion. Today was the day of their boss's life and death battle. No one was left behind. More than 500 people gathered together, forming a terrifying aura. Their clothes were the same and their footwork was the same. When they stepped on the ground, they emitted an indescribable rhythm, causing the entire ground to tremble. So strong. Was this Lin Xian's strength? The gods were shocked and could not believe it. They knew that Lin Xian had established the Dragon Sword Pavilion, but they had never thought that the Dragon Sword Pavilion would develop so quickly. Now that it had reached such a scale, it was truly shocking. When Lone Wolf saw the 500 people from the Dragon Sword Pavilion, his expression changed slightly. He snorted coldly and said, "Today is a life and death battle. No matter how many people you bring, it's useless. I brought these people not to help me fight, but to clean up the trash," Lin Xian said indifferently. "This fly is too annoying. Which one of you will chase him out?" Hearing this, everyone was shocked and their hearts trembled violently. Fly, Lin Xian actually called Lone Wolf a fly. Was he courting death? One had to know that Lone Wolf was a genius ranked 33rd. In addition to his violent fighting style, his combat strength was not weaker than Yen Qingfeng's. Lin Xian actually called such a person a fly. No one dared to imagine what kind of anger Lone Wolf would erupt. Sure enough, after hearing Lin Xian's words, Lone Wolf's face darkened, and a terrifying killing intent erupted from his body. "Brat, you'd better kneel down and kowtow to apologize. Otherwise, I guarantee that you will die here without having to enter the life and death arena." Chapter 849. On the other hand, Yi Yen, Snow Lady, and the rest narrowed their eyes as if they were watching a show. Lin Xian ignored Lone Wolf's threat and shook his head slightly as he spoke to Dongfang Xiong. "Dongfang, throw this guy out. I don't want to see him. I don't want to affect my mood for the competition." "Don't worry, Brother Xian." Dongfang Xiong laughed foolishly and took a step forward. His entire body exuded a dragon elephant aura. Following his action, the 500 members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion behind him roared in unison. How dare he insult their boss? He deserved to die. They didn't care if he was an expert on the Sublime Venerable leaderboard. As long as he dared to insult their boss, he would be sent flying. 500 people gathered together. Their aura was terrifying. Moreover, these people weren't weak. More than half of them had entered the supremacy realm. With so many cultivators gathered together, not to mention the third-level venerated realm experts, even the elders' expressions changed drastically. They couldn't fight back. They couldn't fight back at all. Back then, Lin Xian had led 50 supremacies and barged into the Vientiane auction. Now, the members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion were 10 times more than before. The power they produced was also 10 times more than before. Terrifying spiritual energy soared from the 500 people. It formed a huge hand in the air and slammed down. "You're courting death." Lone Wolf roared. An extremely powerful aura exploded from his body as he fought against the huge hand in the sky. However, everything he did was in vain. Although he was a third-level supremacies and there was a suppression between supremacies, he wasn't facing one person. He was facing 500 experts. The 500 people were all geniuses. Although they weren't as strong as him, their talents weren't any weaker than his. At that moment, the 500 people gathered together. He couldn't fight back at all. Poof! A string of blood splattered down from the sky as Lone Wolf was sent flying. The void was torn apart. His body was like a shooting star as he disappeared into the horizon. Silence. Absolute silence. All the martial artists around the life and death ring were stunned. The powerful Lone Wolf, an expert ranked 33rd on the Sublime Venerable leaderboard, was sent flying just like that. Seeing the members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion, everyone gasped. They didn't dare to be presumptuous anymore. In the life and death ring, Yan Qingfeng frowned. The other party's society was indeed a terrifying force that could even threaten him. But so what? Today's match was a battle of life and death. No one could help Lin Xian. In a one-on-one battle, Yan Qingfeng had absolute confidence. Although you can make Lone Wolf leave the stage, it's all in vain. On the life and death arena, no one can help you. Once you lose the support of a force, you are nothing. Killing you is as easy as flipping my hand. Is that so? I look forward to it. Lin Xian smiled faintly. He slowly walked forward with steady steps. A powerful sword will gushed out from his body. On the other side, Yan Qingfeng also exuded a terrifying aura that was filled with murderous intent. Moreover, it contained the powerful aura of a third sky venerable realm cultivator, which pressed down on Lin Xian. The two auras clashed in the void, creating a terrifying sound of collision. Yan Qingfeng looked disdainful. He was 2 levels higher than Lin Xian. He could crush Lin Xian to death with his aura alone. He knew that too. Therefore, before going on the stage, he wanted to use his cultivation to humiliate Lin Xian. He wanted Lin Xian to know the consequences of offending the Yan family. However, to his surprise, Lin Xian was not pressed down. Instead, Lin Xian blocked his aura. How is that possible? The others were shocked too. They did not expect Lin Xian to be able to block it. Lin Xian smiled faintly. I can tell from your expression that your plan has failed again. Although I don't want to admit it, I still have to say that I seem to be the nemesis of the Yan family. Therefore you have to be careful. Don't die because of me. Yan Qingfeng snorted. He squinted his eyes and stared at Lin Xian. Then he looked surprised. You've broken through. No wonder you're so arrogant. Even if you're a second sky venerable, it's still not enough. I'll let you know how big the gap between us is. Cherish this moment. Today will be the last time you're arrogant. Lin Xian shook his head slightly and walked towards the combat ring quickly. With every step he took, the sword intent on his body grew stronger. In the end, the entire space was shrouded by the terrifying sword light as if it was going to tear the 9 heavens apart. The surrounding crowd was shocked and retreated quickly. They could not withstand the pressure of the aura. Then Lin Xian stepped onto the combat ring. Sword chi exploded like a peerless sword and slashed forward. Too powerful. Lin Xian was like a sword god. He was extremely sharp and pointed his sword at Yan Qingfeng as soon as he stepped onto the stage. Activate. As Lin Xian stepped onto the combat ring, the surrounding elders of the academy shouted. Then they waved their hands and injected spiritual energy into the combat ring. In the end, the entire combat ring shook rapidly and formed a sealed space. Only when one of them died would the combat ring open again and release the winner. Otherwise, both of them would be sealed in the combat ring. That was the combat ring. Once one stepped onto the combat ring, life and death would be decided immediately. Only those who were alive could leave the combat ring. Looking at Lin Xian opposite him, Yan Qingfeng became extremely cold. A violent and cold murderous aura was released from his body and quickly spread in all directions. In his eyes, a cold blade flashed. Today he was going to kill his opponent and take the Lone Star Sword to clear his family name. Kid, although you've broken through to the second sky of the honorable realm, you're still nothing in front of me. Take out the Lone Star Sword. Otherwise you won't stand a chance. Hearing that, many people nodded in agreement. Indeed, although Lin Xian was powerful, the gap between the two was too big. If not for the Lone Star Sword, Yan Qingfeng would have been killed instantly. However, Lin Xian smiled faintly. Since you're so eager to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Then he slowly took out the Lone Star Sword from his back. Hearing that, many people shook their heads. They thought that Lin Xian had gone overboard. One should know that even with the Lone Star Sword, he could at most compete with Yan Qingfeng. It was impossible for him to defeat Yan Qingfeng. However, Lin Xian was extremely confident. After breaking through to the second sky of the honorable realm, his chances of winning had increased to 80%. This was still under the condition that he did not use the Lone Star Sword. If he used the Lone Star Sword now, he would definitely win. In fact, from his point of view, using the Lone Star Sword would make this battle meaningless. However, this was a battle of life and death. He could not afford to be careless. In a battle of this nature, he had to be fast and accurate. Therefore, even if Yan Qingfeng did not say so, he had decided to use the Lone Star Sword to end the battle quickly. Chapter 850. Yan Qingfeng was very confident. Regardless of whether Lin Xian used the Lone Star Sword or not, he would still be able to kill him. He was very confident in his own strength. He extended his palm and a snow-white long saber appeared in his hand. The saber radiance flashed and sliced through the void easily. Needless to say, it was a treasured saber. With the saber in hand, Yan Qingfeng's entire body became sharp. His aura was unbearable. Next, you will know how big the gap between us is. Even if you have the Lone Star Sword, you won't be able to make up for it. He snorted coldly and waved his arm. The snow-white long saber fell, bringing with it a strong gust of wind. Along with it was a dazzling saber radiance that merged into one. The crowd was shocked and their hearts trembled. Yan Qingfeng was too powerful. Just a normal attack was unbearable. He was indeed a genius martial artist who was ranked 30th on the Mystic Honorable Leaderboard. Lin Xian's expression was grave. Yan Qingfeng's attack was enough to threaten his safety. He used the illusory demon steps and dodged quickly. At the same time, he waved the long sword in his hand. He became one with the sword and charged toward Yan Qingfeng. You want to fight in close combat? You're courting death. Yan Qingfeng sneered. The saber in his hand shone even more brightly. With his earth-rank body movement, Lin Xian was very fast. He arrived in front of Yan Qingfeng in an instant. The next moment, the great dragon sword soul exploded. Shocking murderous aura and blood-red sword radiance accompanied the Lone Star Sword as it pierced forward. In an instant, the entire sky was dyed red. It was as if hell had descended. Boom. Poof. With one strike, the two of them quickly moved to opposite ends of the arena. That's fast. What happened? The crowd was anxious and discussed quickly. They could not see the attack clearly. They could only feel the terrifying power spreading in all directions. The Lone Star Sword is only SOSO. Yan Qingfeng turned around and sneered. However, before he could finish his sentence, his expression changed drastically. His entire face was distorted. Poof. In the next moment, blood spurted out of his right arm like a river of blood. It was terrifying. His entire right arm was separated from his body and fell to the ground. Ah, my arm. What happened? The crowd was stunned. They could not believe it. At that moment, everyone was stunned. The extremely powerful Yan Qingfeng's arm was cut off? This was too unbelievable. Lin Xian, how is Lin Xian? Everyone hurriedly turned their heads and looked to the other side. They knew that the moment they exchanged blows, the two of them must have had an intense collision. Otherwise, such a shocking thing would not have happened. God, he's fine. Someone cried out in alarm, not daring to believe it. Lin Xian stood proudly with his sword in his hand. His sleeves were torn and the cut was even. It was cut by the long blade, but his body was unharmed. With one strike, Yan Qingfeng was defeated. The previously incomparably arrogant and domineering Yan Qingfeng was actually defeated in one move. Was Lin Xian too terrifying, or was the Lone Star Sword too powerful? The crowd did not know, but they knew that Yan Qingfeng had lost the match. Without his right arm, his battle prowess would definitely drop drastically. How could he possibly withstand the Lone Star Sword's attacks? And the consequence of failure was death. Impossible, this is impossible. Outside the arena, Yan Qingyang was trembling in disbelief. He knew his elder brother's strength. Even a third-level honorable realm of the older generation was no match for him. However, such a person had actually been defeated. Furthermore, he had been defeated in a single move. Just how powerful was Lin Xian? The Tao Spirit Association's side was dead silent, but the Dragon Sword Pavilion's side was jubilant. Murong Qingqing's beautiful eyes also turned, and her face was full of surprise. Yi Yin, Snow Lady, and the rest were also extremely shocked. They did not expect such a situation. What a fast sword! In the distance, a few elders from the academy exclaimed, looking at Lin Xian with sparkling eyes. This kid is incredible. Even without the Lone Star Sword he can still win. However, the Lone Star Sword has shortened the process infinitely. Yes, such a fast sword is very rare among the younger generation. Not bad, not bad. Perhaps he is qualified to enter that place. A few elders discussed and they were very optimistic about Lin Xian. In the life and death ring, Yan Qingfeng's body trembled. He looked at the broken arm and fell into a daze. This should not be. This was completely different from what he had expected. How could his opponent have such a powerful attack? The Lone Star Sword, it must be the Lone Star Sword. His eyes were crazy as he stared ahead. Is this the power of a half-Earth-rank treasure? It's so powerful. I must get it. He roared to the sky and the aura on his body erupted like a flood. Boom. The void exploded and a black lightning bolt floated in the sky with terrifying power. Die brat. Yan Qingfeng roared and attacked with his martial soul. Rumble. In an instant, lightning surged, shattering everything. The sea of lightning surged and it was extremely terrifying. The scene was too terrifying. The entire sky was a sea of lightning, and it quickly enveloped Lin Xian. Gulp. Countless people swallowed their saliva. Such an attack was terrifying. Even a third-rank honorable would be turned into ashes in an instant. Lin Xian also felt the danger. Without hesitation, he quickly held the Lone Star Sword with both hands and displayed the Great Dragon Sword Soul to the extreme. Gale Lightning Sword, 3 moves frighten ghosts and gods. A sword chi that was as thick as a mountain and as fierce as a sword god slashed down quickly. Boom. The void trembled, and the endless sea of lightning swayed before it was ruthlessly cut open. The scene was terrifying. It was as if the dark night had been forcefully torn apart by a pair of large hands. Countless rays of light surged in, and the sky regained its clarity. The entire life and death ring trembled. If not for the special material, it would have been destroyed long ago. Drip. Drip. There was a pool of blood dripping in front, but Yan Qingfeng's figure had disappeared. Gulp. Countless people swallowed their saliva with difficulty, unable to believe what had happened. Another sword. In just one sword, Yan Qingfeng was dead. In the entire process, Lin Xian had only attacked twice. However, these 2 attacks had taken Yan Qingfeng's life. The first attack had cut off Yan Qingfeng's right arm, directly destroying all of Yan Qingfeng's beliefs. The second attack had directly killed Yan Qingfeng. The entire process was very short and it took less than half an hour. No, this can't be real. Demon. Below, Yan Qingyang screamed in horror and his body trembled. In the next moment he turned around and fled. Yan Qingfeng was dead, and he did not even have the courage to face Lin Xian. The martial artists from Dao Ling Association also retreated quickly, disappearing into the crowd. Everyone knew that from today onwards, Dao Ling Association no longer existed. Bus. On the life and death ring, the special enchantment disappeared. The entire ring quickly faded and fell into a deep sleep again. Brother Xian. Brother Xian. The people from Dragon Sword Pavilion shouted crazily. They were too excited. Lin Xian's strength had shocked their new god. This was their boss. The boss of Dragon Sword Pavilion. Chapter 851. The news of Lin Xian defeating Yan Qingfeng spread like wildfire across the entire Immortal Martial Academy. Everyone knew that this new student was too amazing. He rose up in a domineering manner and would definitely be one of the top experts in the academy in the future. Lin Xian defeated Yan Qingfeng and obtained the 30th place on the Mystic Honorable ranking. This advancement speed was terrifying. It was probably rare in the Immortal Martial Academy for the past 100 years. His Mystic Supreme Mirror evolved once again. Along with it came the dense spiritual chi of heaven and earth. The spiritual chi was too dense. With this Mystic Supreme Mirror, he didn't need to go to the intermediate spirit gathering tower anymore. Therefore, he went into seclusion after returning to experience the benefits brought by the mystic supreme mirror. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. However, on this day Lin Xian's courtyard welcomed a guest. It was a delicate and cute girl with big eyes and long black hair. She looked like a little elf. This young girl was wearing a blue and white dress, with an ice flower drawn on her sleeve. It was as if it was real, exuding traces of coldness. "You are." Lin Xian was stunned when he saw the girl. Although he didn't know her, he had seen the symbol on her clothes before. 2 days ago, when he was in the life and death battle, there was a group of people wearing the same clothes near the arena. "I'm Shueman. I'm from the Ice Pavilion in the academy," the girl said softly. "Ice Pavilion." Lin Xian nodded slightly. He remembered very clearly that the person who led the Ice Pavilion that day was a girl with long silver hair. Her strength was terrifying and even above Yan Qingfeng. "Why are you looking for me?" "I'm not looking for you. My sister is looking for you. Come with me." "Your sister?" Lin Xian was puzzled. You're so stupid. My sister is naturally the owner of the Ice Pavilion, Ice Fairy. She's also the snow lady that you all call Ice Fairy? Why is she looking for me?" Lin Xian was even more puzzled. They didn't seem to know each other. "You'll know when you get there." The girl pouted. "You're a man. Don't tell me you don't dare to go?" "Why wouldn't I dare?" Lin Xian smiled. "Lead the way." Very quickly, under Shueman's lead, the two left the freshman area and walked towards the east of the Immortal Martial Academy. After flying for the time it took an incense stick, Shueman stopped. In front of him was a valley covered in snow and ice. Everything was white as snow. There were even snowflakes falling from the sky. How strange. Lin Xian was surprised. He didn't expect there to be such a strange place in the academy. Actually, this was very normal. The Immortal Martial Academy was extremely vast, far larger than what he knew. Within this place there were all sorts of landforms, mountains, rivers, lakes, everything that one could imagine. A snowy valley wasn't much. Walking into the valley, Lin Xian discovered that there were a few blue pavilions inside. He guessed that these were the residences of these people. Not far from the left side of the pavilion, there was a blue bamboo forest. Every bamboo was crystal clear, as if they were made of ice and snow. This was frost bamboo and it contained a powerful frost power. 4 martial artists who cultivated the ice attribute, it was a very good supplementary cultivation item. At this moment, there was a white figure standing in front of the ice bamboos, expressionlessly looking at Lin Xian. So cold. Feeling that gaze, Lin Xian was startled. The coldness in the other party's eyes made him feel uneasy. "Sister Bingling, I've brought him here." Shueman smiled faintly at the beautiful figure in white. "Okay." Bingling nodded slightly, then looked at Lin Xian again. Lin Xian also began to size up the other party. Putting aside the coldness, Bingling was definitely a stunning beauty. Her beautiful face and exquisite figure were wrapped in a white dress. One could vaguely see her alluring curves. Although her exquisite face was expressionless, it was not hard to imagine that if that face smiled, it would definitely make everything in the world pale in comparison. What was even more peculiar was that she had a head of silver hair, which added a hint of mystery to her already stunning beauty. "Greetings, senior sister Bingling," Lin Xian said. No matter what, the other party was a senior. He still had to be polite. "Junior brother Lin is too polite," Bingling said indifferently. "I invited you here because I have a mission for you. I wonder if you are interested." "Mission? What mission?" Lin Xian was surprised. A mission that the snow girl accepted was definitely not ordinary. A 4-star mission. A 4-star mission. Lin Xian was surprised. He squinted his eyes and said, "Only seniors can accept 4-star missions. As a new student, I don't seem to have the qualifications." Lin Xian had already familiarized himself with the rules of the Immortal Martial Academy. In the Immortal Martial Academy, a large number of missions would be issued almost every day. According to the difficulty of these missions, they would be ranked from 1 to 5 stars. Normally, new students could only accept missions that were ranked in the top 3 stars. Although it seemed unreasonable, this was a rule that the Academy created after careful consideration in order to protect the safety of the new students. One had to know that 3-star missions were already extremely difficult. Basically, one would need to be at least at the Paragon realm to complete them. Among the new students, only a few geniuses had the qualifications to complete such missions. As for the other new students, they could only accept 1-star or 2-star missions at most. Only after they had stayed in the academy for a year and became a senior would they be able to accept missions of a higher level. Lin Xian had already accepted 3-star missions. However, he was unable to accept 4-star missions because he was a new student. And now, the other party actually invited him to participate in a 4-star mission. You don't have to worry about qualifications. Since I invited you here, I can naturally help you settle it. Bing Ling said indifferently. She had an indifferent expression from the start, as if nothing could cause her to be moved. But why invite me? Lin Xian asked again. In the Immortal Martial Academy, there should be many cultivators who can participate in 4-star missions. And there should be many who are stronger than me. Why choose me? Because of strength. Bing Ling said straightforwardly. I saw the match between you and Yan Qingfeng a few days ago. Your strength is very strong beyond everyone's expectations. Especially your decisive and swift strike. I admire it very much. That's why I invited you to participate. But there's one thing I have to explain. I didn't invite you alone. This 4-star mission is a team mission with a total of 5 people. Other than you, I also invited 3 other people. Moreover, the reward for this mission is very generous. If you can successfully complete it, you can get a reward of 1 million spiritual value points. 1 million. Lin Xian was shocked and gasped. One had to know that an Earth-rank martial art was only 300,000 spiritual value points. 1 million could be exchanged for 3.5 Earth-rank martial arts. If he completed this mission 4 or 5 times, he could exchange it for a complete Earth-rank martial art. Chapter 852. Seeing Lin Xian's shocked expression, Bing Ling said indifferently, "You're thinking too much. Do you think that a 4-star mission is easy? Furthermore, without a certain status and qualifications, it's very difficult to receive a 4-star mission. As for the 1 million spiritual stones, it's actually not much. If you can receive a 5-star mission, the reward will be terrifying. I heard that a 5-star mission will give you at least 5 million spiritual value points." 5 million? Lin Xian was shocked. A mission like this could be exchanged for an Earth-rank martial art. However, he knew that a 5-star mission was even more difficult. Bing Ling said, "Although the reward of a 5-star mission is extremely tempting, only one person has been able to complete it in so many years." One person. Who is it? Lin Xian was very curious. Du Guoyan. This time, there was finally a change in Bing Ling's expression. It was a very dignified look. Du Guoyan. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. He had seen this name before because it was ranked first on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard. Alright, let's not talk about other things. Let's talk about this mission, Bing Ling said indifferently. The mission I received is a little special. It's a treasure hunting mission, similar to an ancient treasure cave. Usually there will be martial arts, treasures and elixirs left inside. We only need to hand over 30% of the items we obtain to the academy. The rest is ours. This kind of treasure hunting mission is very popular because other than obtaining a large amount of spiritual value points, you can also obtain some ancient treasures. It can be said that it's a mission that every academy disciple wants to complete. There's such a good thing. Lin Xian was a little tempted. Moreover, he could not refuse the 1 million spiritual value points reward. After all, he had promised the dark red divine dragon that he would help him obtain the dragon's blood. The dragon's blood was very expensive, even more expensive than an Earth-rank martial art. Therefore, this was a good opportunity for Lin Xian. Alright, I agree. Lin Xian nodded solemnly. I wonder who else is there? He had heard that this was a team mission, so he wanted to ask the other warriors. Bing Ling had already made her choice. Xueman said from the side. Other than you, there's also Yi Yen ranked 25th on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard, and Yang Lin ranked 36th. The last one is a freshman like you. Her name is Dongfang Red Phoenix. You should know her. Eastern Phoenix. Lin Xian was surprised. He didn't expect that other than him, there would be a new student joining the team. But why not Murong Qingqing? In terms of strength, Murong Qingqing was probably stronger. As if sensing Lin Xian's confusion, the ice spirit explained, the Eastern Phoenix's martial soul is a little special, so I chose her. I see. Lin Xian nodded. If there's nothing else, we'll leave in 3 days. When the time comes, you can come to the Ice Spirit Valley and we'll set off together. All right. Lin Xian nodded. Just as he was about to leave, the sound of something breaking through the air came from behind him. A figure came to the Ice Spirit Valley at lightning speed. It was a wild-looking young man. He wore a beast robe and his hair was messy. His eyes were sharp like a demonic beast. The young man landed and looked around. When he saw Lin Xian, his face filled with shock. His pupils constricted, and a look of nervousness and fear appeared on his face. At this moment, Lin Xian also saw that person. However, the corners of his mouth curled into a playful smile. The wild-looking young man was none other than Lone Wolf, who had been sent flying a few days ago. Lin Xian didn't expect to meet him in the Ice Spirit Valley. Seeing the smile on Lin Xian's face, Lone Wolf snorted coldly as a cold glint appeared in his eyes. However, he quickly restrained himself and turned to speak to the Ice Spirit. "Icicle Fairy, I wonder if you've considered the matter I mentioned before?" Lone Wolf's eyes shone with a strange light. He was looking forward to it. Ice Spirit said calmly, "The last person has been chosen. It's Lin Xian. As for you, we can work together in the future if there's a chance." "What? Lin Xian?" Lone Wolf's face darkened and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He turned his head and stared at Lin Xian fiercely. He clenched his fists and his whole body trembled. He didn't expect that the last person for the treasure hunting mission would be Lin Xian. He couldn't accept it. The treasure hunting mission was very popular. However, he could only give up because he couldn't defeat either Ice Spirit or Lin Xian. If that's the case, then forget it. We can work together in the future. Lone Wolf cupped his fists and left the Ice Spirit Valley in a flash. 5,000 meters away from the Ice Spirit Valley, there were a few figures who seemed to be waiting for something. "He's out. So fast." They raised their heads and looked at the sky. "How was it? Did you succeed?" Looking at Lone Wolf, one of them asked. "No, the last person was snatched." Gulu's face was gloomy and his voice was cold. "Who dares to snatch boss's name? Could it be one of the top 20? "No, it's Lin Xian." Lone Wolf gritted his teeth and said. His eyes were full of murderous intent and hatred. Hearing this, the others were shocked as well. Fear appeared on their faces. They clearly remembered the life and death battle from before. Lin Xian wielded the Lone Star Sword and killed Yan Qingfeng instantly. Most people believed that Lin Xian's victory was due to his half-earth step artifact. However, weapons were also a part of a martial artist's strength. As long as the Lone Star Sword was with Lin Xian, no one dared to touch him. "Damn it, I can't take this lying down." Lone Wolf roared. His eyes were red like a crazy beast. "Boss, I have an idea. We can definitely make Lin Xian die outside." "What idea?" "Quick." Lone Wolf asked. "Let's tell the Yin family that Lin Xian is outside. With the Yin family's anger, they won't let him go. No one can touch him in the college. However, once he's out of the college with the Yin family's strength, it'll be easy for them to kill him. Even if he has the Lone Star Sword, he won't be able to resist." "Good idea. Let's do that." Lone Wolf sneered. "Lin Xian, how dare you provoke me? I'll make sure you die a horrible death." The few of them moved and disappeared like lightning. 3 days later, Lin Xian left the courtyard and headed to the Ice Spirit Valley. Soon he arrived at the Ice Spirit Valley again. This time, other than Icicle, there were a few more figures in the valley. One of them was red all over, as if flames were dancing around. It was very eye-catching in this world of ice and snow. Lin Xian knew this red figure. It was Dongfang Phoenix, who was a freshman like him. Lin Xian nodded slightly and greeted Icicle Fairy and Dongfang Phoenix. Chapter 853. The other two were equally powerful. One of them wore a purple robe and had a pale face, as if he had not seen the sun for many days. What was even more peculiar was that his eyes were also purple and filled with a sense of mystery. The other person was a tall and burly young man. The purple-eyed young man was called Yi Yen, ranked 25th on the Mystic Honorable Leaderboard. The burly young man was called Yang Lin, ranked 36th on the Mystic Honorable Leaderboard. Bing Ling nodded slightly at Lin Xian and introduced the other two. Then he pointed at Lin Xian and said, "This is the last member of our team, Lin Xian. I believe you guys are familiar with him." "Ah, Brother Lin, how can I not be familiar with you? The battle of life and death that day was amazing." Young Lin laughed. Indeed, almost everyone in the college knew who Lin Xian was. After all, the battle of life and death a few days ago was still fresh in everyone's minds. "I didn't expect you to be so lucky to obtain a half-Earth rank weapon." Beside him, Dongfang Phoenix rolled her beautiful eyes and snorted softly. Yi Yen and the rest also looked behind Lin Xian with sparkling eyes. "Junior Brother Lin, our mission this time is to search for treasures. It's better to keep a low profile. If you carry the Lone Star Sword like this, I'm afraid you'll attract a lot of unnecessary trouble." Bing Ling frowned. "I'm really sorry. Due to cultivation, I can't put away the Lone Star Sword for the time being. Lin Xian apologized. How about this? I'll wrap the Lone Star Sword with a cloth to cover its appearance. That should help us avoid some trouble. How about this? I have a veil made of heavenly sand that can block soul detection. If you wrap the Lone Star Sword with it, it'll definitely be safe, Bing Ling said. Heavenly sand? Block soul detection. That's a good thing. Hearing this, everyone's eyes sparkled. Heavenly sand was something that could block soul detection. Naturally, it was a good thing. They did not expect Bing Ling to give it to Lin Xian. Bing Ling waved her hand and a square blue scarf that was 1 meter long floated out and landed in Lin Xian's hand. Thank you, senior sister. Lin Xian took it and smiled. Senior sister, I have a small spatial teleportation platform. I'll give it to you now. Finished speaking, Lin Xian took out a profound jade platform. Since the other party was willing to give him a treasure that could isolate his divine sense, he naturally couldn't accept it empty-handed. Thus, he planned to use the profound jade pedestal to exchange for it. Spatial teleportation. Everyone was shocked once again, and their eyes burned with passion. They never thought that Lin Xian would actually have such a treasure on him. At a critical moment, this kind of thing could save his life. Bing Ling paused for a moment, then smiled. Thank you, junior brother Lin. I'll take it. Her smile was like a melting ice that had been frozen for 10,000 years, causing the world to lose its color. Even Lin Xian was momentarily dazed. He had to admit that Bing Ling was definitely a peerless beauty. Taking a deep breath and calming himself down, Lin Xian used the heavenly quicksand to wrap the Lone Star Sword. Then he wrapped it with a layer of black cloth before carrying it on his back. This way, not only could he comprehend the Lone Star Sword, but it could also isolate the senses of others to avoid trouble. Everyone is almost ready. Let's go. Bing Ling kept her smile and said indifferently. Hearing this, Lin Xian and the rest nodded and moved quickly. The 5 of them formed a team and flew out of the Immortal Martial Academy. Our destination this time is the Blackwater River. It's relatively close to the center of the Blood region. At this speed we can reach it in about 10 days. Flying like this consumes too much spiritual energy. Why don't we use it? Lin Xian waved his sleeves and patted his demonic beast pouch. Instantly, a golden figure appeared. Then, it grew bigger with the wind and turned into a golden divine condor that was dozens of feet long. Demon General. What a sharp demon chi. Everyone was moved when they saw the golden divine condor. Let's all get on. After all, 10 days of traveling will consume a lot of energy. Bing Ling said. Then, her figure flashed and she appeared on the back of the golden divine condor. The others also jumped and got on the golden divine condor. The 5 of them sat cross-legged on the back of the golden divine condor. Next, Bing Ling started to explain the treasure hunting mission. First, their destination this time, the Blackwater River. This was a very mysterious area and it was very famous in the Blood region. It was said that thousands of years ago, countless experts fought a great battle near the Blackwater River. As for the reason of the battle, no one remembered. However, that battle was very tragic and it was recorded in history. Countless experts fell and blood flowed like a river. The blood that flowed into the river turned into black water. It was only because of such strange occurrences that the Blackwater River became famous. Those experts fell far behind. Their treasures, storage rings and other treasures all fell near the Blackwater River. In these hundreds of years, there were lucky people who obtained powerful inheritances or treasures near the Blackwater River, changing their fates. Therefore, the Blackwater River became the treasure hunting ground for everyone. Our mission this time is also at the Blackwater River. According to the information, this should be a treasure cave left behind by an 8th heaven venerable, Bing Ling said. The Blackwater River is not just a river. It's a vast area, Bing Ling said slowly. Bing Ling said slowly, let's go to Blackwater City first. That's the biggest city within 10,000 miles. The city lord of the Blackwater City was a 4th heaven venerable. He could be considered an overlord in this area. As Bing Ling explained, the golden divine condor spread its wings and flew quickly in the sky like a bolt of golden lightning. About 7 or 8 days later, the outline of a huge city appeared. It was like a wild beast entrenched on the ground. We'll land in the Blackwater City first. Everyone take a rest and collect information, Bing Ling said. After all, we're not the only team in the Blackwater City. There might be other forces with the same goal as us. Therefore we must be prepared. He was very comprehensive. Obviously he was very familiar with this kind of treasure hunting mission. Lin Xian and the others had no objections. They all nodded in agreement. Then the five of them left the golden divine condor and flew into the sky. Lin Xian waved his hand and called the golden divine condor back. He followed the others and landed in front of the city. Lin Xian squinted his eyes and looked ahead. It was an extremely majestic city. It was completely black and exuded a murderous aura. The city was huge and did not seem to be any weaker than Windy City. At the city gate, martial artists came and went in an endless stream. Most of them came to the Blackwater River to hunt for treasures. "Let's go in," Bing Ling said softly. Then he took the lead. Lin Xian and the others followed behind him. They paid the spiritual stones and entered the Blackwater City. The city was even more prosperous. There were all kinds of materials. Yi Yan and the others were okay. After all, they were seniors and had been to many places. However, it was Dongfang Phoenix's first time in such a city. Her beautiful eyes were full of excitement. Chapter 854. Great. Thank you, senior sister Bing Ling. Dongfang Fenghuang was excited. Although their attributes were completely different and even countered each other, there was not much friction between the two. Instead, there was a special closeness between them. This made Lin Xian and the others very surprised. One should know that water and fire were incompatible. Ice and fire were even more incompatible. However, the two beauties were talking and laughing at this moment, which obviously broke their understanding. Strange, this is really strange. The burly young man Yang Lin shook his head and said. Lin Xian also smiled faintly. He glanced around and then nodded slightly. It seemed that Bing Ling was right. Although these places were noisy and had many materials, most of them were not useful to them. Or rather, they were not interested in them at all. He wondered what good places there were in the depths of Blackwater City that even Bing Ling was interested in. Lin Xian was a little curious. Let's go. Let's find an inn first. The group of people shuttled through Blackwater City and caused quite a stir. Of course, it was not caused by Lin Xian's Lone Star Sword. The ancient sword was now completely wrapped up and no one could find it. It was the two beauties in the group who caused the stir, Bing Ling and Dongfang Fenghuang. One of them was as cold as ice and the other was as beautiful as fire. The combination of two completely different styles created a spectacular visual impact. Many people stopped and looked at Bing Ling and Dongfang Fenghuang with eyes full of passion. Lin Xian sighed as he looked at the numerous fiery gazes. It seemed that no matter where one was, regardless of one's cultivation level, beauty and power were the goals that everyone pursued. After finding an inn, Bing Ling led the group again and walked towards the inner part of Blackwater City. Looking at how familiar she was, it should not be her first time here. Blackwater City is divided into the outer city and the inner city. The things in the inner city are the real good. The inner city was obviously different from the outer city. There were many warriors with high cultivation guarding the entrance and the entrance fee was several times more expensive than the outer city. Lin Xian and the others paid the spiritual stones and then walked in. Compared to the noisy streets outside, there were obviously a lot fewer martial artists here. However, every single one of those who were able to enter this place was no weakling, and Exalt Realm cultivators could be seen everywhere. If the outer city was said to be a gathering place for martial artists, then the inner city would be a gathering place for elites. There is a very special elixir pavilion in front. Let me show you, Bing Ling said. Xin Xian and the rest followed behind. Soon they saw a majestic hall in front of them. There were several times more warriors gathered there than in the surroundings. Bing Ling and the others walked into the main hall. Then she turned around and said to Lin Xian and the others, "Everyone find a futon and sit on it." Lin Xian looked around and realized that there were no chairs in the hall, only prayer mats. Each prayer mat represented a position, and many of the prayer mats were already seated. Although Lin Xian took a quick glance, he discovered that none of these people were weak. The five of them found 5 futons side by side and sat down. Then they began to look around carefully. The surrounding people all had different expressions on their faces. Some were talking in low voices while others were resting with their eyes closed as if they were waiting for something. At this moment, a presumptuous laughter rang out in the hall. It was filled with endless temptation as it spread out in all directions. Many people frowned when they heard this voice, but they did not say anything. Lin Xian was very curious. He turned his head and looked to the left. The voice had come from there. There was a girl with a hot figure there. She had a hot figure, a pretty face, and a pair of seductive eyes that could captivate one's soul. Not only that, but she was also wearing very revealing clothes. She only wore a thin purple dress that revealed her slender thighs and the snow-white soft flesh on her chest. On both sides of her were two young men. Their auras were ordinary and they were only in the spirit-detecting realm. However, they were both very handsome. Such handsome young men should have been pursued by thousands of girls, but at this moment, they were like servants trying their best to please the seductive girl. The seductive girl had a look of enjoyment on her face as she teased the two handsome young men. From time to time she would let out extremely seductive sounds. Behind the seductive girl sat an old woman with a head full of white hair. Her eyes were slightly closed as if she was asleep. However, Lin Xian keenly noticed that the old woman was emitting a faint aura that surrounded the seductive girl. It seemed that the old woman with a head full of white hair was the seductive girl's guardian. Humph! Seeing this indecent scene, Dongfang Fenghuang coldly snorted. She was obviously very angry. Yang Lin, on the other hand, widened his eyes in disbelief. That's the daughter of the Blackwater City Lord, Bing Ling explained in a low voice. The daughter of the Blackwater City Lord. Lin Xian and the others were shocked. They did not expect the seductive girl to be the daughter of the city lord. That's right. Look at the black dragon on her chest. That's the symbol of the Blackwater City Lord's mansion. Not only that, but the old woman behind her is also a third heavenly layer exalted. She has the symbol of the city lord's mansion and is being protected by a third heaven venerable. I'm afraid that in the entire Blackwater City, only the daughter of the city lord can receive such treatment. Bing Ling's voice was cold and emotionless. It was obvious that she was very disgusted by the seductive girl's behavior. I didn't expect the people from the Iron Sword sect to be here too. Yi Yan also exclaimed at this moment. Purple light flickered in his eyes. Lin Xian looked over and saw a group of warriors carrying iron swords on their backs in front of him to the right. They were of different ages. The oldest was an old man and the youngest was a young man. These people wore different clothes and had different expressions. However, all of them carried iron swords on their backs. They also carried a sharp aura that belonged to swordsmen. The Iron Sword sect. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed as he looked at the warriors. As a swordsman he could feel their strength. Moreover, they were the few swordsmen that he had seen who carried long swords on their backs. Generally, martial artists would have storage rings. Weapons and such would be placed in the storage ring, and would only be taken out during battle. However, the people from the Iron Sword sect carried their long swords on their backs. It was indeed unique. However, Lin Xian soon felt relieved. He then shook his head slightly. He was also carrying a treasure sword on his back. If not for the sky quicksand, he would have attracted the attention of these people. Is the Iron Sword sect very powerful? Dongfang Fenghuang asked, puzzled. Within 10,000 miles of the Blackwater River, there are three most powerful forces. They are the Blackwater City, the Iron Sword sect, and the Huangfu clan. These three forces occupy different areas. They usually don't interact with each other. Now that the people from the Iron Sword sect have come to the Blackwater City, they must be here for the treasure. Perhaps these people have received some information. Chapter 855. Sure enough, the Huangfu family is here too. Bing Ling's voice was solemn. Lin Xian turned his head and saw another group of people coming from the entrance. These people looked arrogant and their bodies were shrouded in a layer of yellow light, exuding a powerful aura. The leader was a middle-aged man in a yellow robe. He strode in, came to the futon at the front and sat down quickly. Seeing these people's confident and domineering behavior, Lin Xian knew that they must be from the Huangfu family. He did not expect that the three major forces of Blackwater City would appear here at the same time. What is in this hall? How can it attract people from the three major forces? Lin Xian was very curious. Bing Ling and the others looked solemn. They realized that this treasure hunt might be more difficult than they had imagined. After about 30 minutes, a group of people came out from the depths of the hall and walked to the crystal platform in front of the futon. Suddenly, all the cultivators in the hall opened their eyes and looked forward with fervent gazes. Some cultivators even trembled with excitement. It looked like an auction, but according to Bing Ling, it should be an elixir store. Lin Xian frowned slightly. What is this so-called elixir store doing? In front, an old man with a sage-like demeanor walked slowly to the crystal platform. He glanced around and then laughed loudly. Friends, sorry to keep you waiting. I am Gong Sungu. I think you all know me. First of all, thank you for coming to Jade Hall Elixir Store. Your wait will not be in vain. You will definitely get what you want here. Is Jade Hall Elixir Store very famous? Dongfang Phoenix asked. Of course. Jade Hall Elixir Store has a powerful force behind it. It seems to be related to Green Hill Chamber of Commerce. Although the three major forces of Blackwater City are powerful, they dare not provoke Jade Hall Elixir Store. I see. Lin Xian suddenly understood. No wonder when Gong Sun Gu and the others came out, even the daughter of the governor of Blackwater City restrained herself. On the crystal platform, the old man named Gong Sun Gu introduced and said solemnly, "Next, we will get down to business." With that, he waved his sleeve and a palm-sized pill bottle appeared on the crystal platform. The old man smiled and slowly opened the bottle. Immediately, a strong pill fragrance floated out. Not only that, the pill fragrance wafted in the air, forming a 3-foot-tall green demonic beast phantom. It was incomparably ferocious and lifelike. This is... Dongfang Fenghuang and the others were astonished, their mouths agape. Lin Xian's eyes also narrowed as a light flickered in his eyes. He did not expect that the level of alchemy in this place would be so high. The cyan shadow above the pill bottle was clearly the manifestation of the pill fragrance. This kind of method was not just a matter of the grade of the pill. The quality of the pill was even more important. It was clear that the pills in front of him were all very high-grade pills, regardless of their grade or quality. At this moment, old man Gong Sun also spoke. Everyone, this medicinal pellet is called the Cyan Spirit Pellet. It is concocted using the Cyan Spirit Beast's monstrous core. After taking this pill, it can greatly increase a martial artist's speed. It can double a martial artist's speed within the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. This is definitely a rare medicinal pill. I hope that everyone will consider it carefully and not miss this golden opportunity. Hearing this, many people were shocked and their expressions changed. Doubling one's speed was an incredible thing. One should know that if one's speed suddenly increased during a battle, it could definitely catch one's opponent off guard. Moreover, increasing one's speed was usually something that could only be done by secret techniques. However, a medicinal pill could solve this problem. Even Lin Xian and the others were surprised. In the world of martial arts, only speed was unbeatable. If one could greatly increase one's speed, it would definitely increase one's strength. At this moment, old man Gong Sun looked at the lively scene below and chuckled. The starting price of the Cyan Spirit Pellet is 5 million spiritual stones. The bidding starts now. Bidding? Lin Xian was surprised. He did not expect that these medicinal pills would be sold in an auction. However, the others in the hall were used to it. As soon as old man Gong Sun finished speaking, someone began to bid. Dongfang Fenghuang's beautiful eyes moved as she listened to the rising price. She was very surprised. She did not expect a small medicinal pill to be auctioned for nearly 10 million spiritual stones. In the end, the Cyan Spirit Pellet was bought by a slightly plump middle-aged man at the price of 5 million spiritual stones. Next, old man Gong Sun took out another medicinal pill and started the auction. Every single one of these pills had a unique effect and it was truly amazing. Lin Xian looked at the lively scene in the hall and narrowed his eyes. However, he did not intend to make a move. He knew that behind the miraculous effects of these medicinal pills, there should be significant side effects. After all medicinal pills had side effects. Everything was relative. When one obtained something, he would also have to pay a price. Therefore, only when one's own strength was the most reliable. Bing Ling and the others did not make a move as well. Although the medicinal pills before were miraculous, they were not interested in them. One should know that these people were all favored by the gods. Perhaps only those extremely unique items could make them make a move. Everyone, the next medicinal pill is very rare. Someone spent a lot of effort to obtain it from the Blackwater River. According to our appraisal, this medicinal pill should be refined by an alchemy grandmaster. An alchemy grandmaster. Hearing this, everyone gasped and looked forward with a burning gaze. A person who could be called an alchemy grandmaster was definitely not an ordinary person. Even Lin Xian sat up straight. There was a trace of curiosity in his eyes. An alchemy grandmaster. That was his goal. On the crystal stage, old man Gong Sun took out a white jade box and held it carefully in his hands. The white jade box was very small. It was about half the size of a palm. It was white and flawless and emitted a faint light. Disregarding everything else, this box alone was a rare treasure. In the next moment, old man Gong Sun opened the white jade box and revealed a medicinal pill the size of a longan fruit. The pill was crimson in color, and its surface was covered with dense veined patterns, as if they were intertwined to form a strange pattern. However, the inscriptions were already rather dim, and even the pill was dim and lusterless. If not for the fact that it was placed in the white jade box, almost no one would think that it was a medicinal pill. Seeing this scene, many people revealed puzzled expressions. The appearance of this medicinal pill was much worse than the previous ones. Everyone, please calm down and listen to my explanation. Old man Gong's son gestured for everyone to quiet down. Then he said loudly, "Don't underestimate this medicinal pill. According to our deduction, this medicinal pill should be able to increase a martial artist's vitality. As everyone knows, vitality is very important to a martial artist. It can be said that it is the foundation. Only with a strong vitality can one go further." Increase vitality? Old man Gong's son. It is true that vitality is the foundation of a martial artist, but what grade is this medicinal pill? How much vitality can it increase? Can you explain it clearly? That you're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.